You're on there.
It'll take about 30 seconds for Rumble to catch up. So
Rumble's not in yet. I can't see you. I'll put something in chat.
Okay, let's just mute you. I'm just going to mute you guys anyway, okay, for a second, okay. All right? Because we'll be there through and everything. Hello. Good evening. Good middle of the night, actually. In fact, we'll be there through in middle of the night. Oh, just hello. Bounce back coming at me. Good evening.
Oh,
God, good middle of the night, actually. In fact, we'll be there through in middle of the night. Oh, just hello. Bounce back coming at me. Good evening. Good middle of the night, actually. In fact, we'll be there through in middle of the night. Oh, just hello. Oh, I'm in a good mood today. Hi, welcome to Paul English Live. I know it doesn't seem like it. I actually don't even feel alive, but welcome. It is August the 14th, 2025. I wish it wasn't. This is show number 100, and that must be nearly the 100th cock-up for starting the show. How about that? But I'm pretty sure all the signs are now there that I'm alive. Welcome to the show. Let's do that music thing, and then I can get my brains put back into my bottom. Too warm for me today. My brain's gonna like Jello. Not that I know what Jello is. I'm British. Hi everyone. Have I got everything ready? I think I might have. Oh wow, that's the best useless start ever. I think that's really good actually. 100 shows in, and I was being all cocky last week saying how everything had gone great. I haven't had a complete cock up like that for ages. My brain's been frazzled all day. I don't know why. I don't know whether I actually woke up in my head. Too many late nights, of course, burning the midnight oil, yakking with people like Eric and others. But anyway, I hope you've had a cracking week. Here we are. Show 100, and it means nothing. It's actually meaningless. It's just a number on a sheet of paper or on a page. But maybe it means a couple of things. We're nearly 2 years into this lark. And maybe what with all the draconian laws of freedom that are being imposed on us, in other words, the removal of all our freedoms, maybe it's a really appropriate number to have. Anyway, wherever you are, wherever you're listening, I'm not going to apologise too much for the beginning, but that was a lot of fun. If you'd seen me just now over the last 2 or 3 minutes, you'd have had a right laugh. It's probably better than the rest of the show put together. But we're running on Rumble. We're running on YouTube. We're going out over WBN 324. Hi, all you people on WBN. We're going out now over Radio SOAPBOX because that was cocked up too. Every single thing that could have gone wrong then went wrong, which means that from now on, it's all going to go right. And we'll start off by introducing Eric. Good evening to you, Eric. How are you?
Good evening, Paul. And I think you should have started off with Happy Days Are Here Again.
No, you're not supposed to say
over and over and over again.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, no, it's all coming up. It's all coming up. We're gonna be happy days today. I'm gonna play it. Well, I didn't know whether I ought to steal it from you, so I don't know if any of you know. But Eric has a show. Folkham Hall runs on Mondays and Sundays, and there was a bit of a moment the other day where a song that was being played called Happy Days Are Here Again played again and again and again and again. I think about 5 times. By the end of it, everybody was quite miserable, really, I think, weren't they, Eric?
But it brainwashed them, didn't it? You will be happy. And we should have had Fockham's propaganda minister on, Nathan. He is our he would have said, you will listen to Happy Days Are Here Again and be happy.
Yeah, you will, absolutely.
Yes.
So, by the way, the only title I put for this show, by the way, it was just Open House. I'm going to tell you, the way I feel halfway through the show, I think I am going to open a bottle of wine. I think we'll do I'll try and do my first drunken show. I don't get drunk, really. It's sad, isn't it? It would actually make it rather more amusing if I did. But welcome to the open house of show 100, for whatever it's worth. There'll never be another show like this. Thank crikey. Thankfully, because it's got off in a silly way. Anyway, if you're on Rumble,
never mind.
Yeah, I'm just having a look. It's all running on Rumble, isn't it? There are not too many. I see a couple of chats. So cool.
Are we all? Yes, they're all in. Mark Anthony, hello, Mark. He's usually in my chat as well.
Mm-hmm.
So Mark Anthony 72, very good man. Yes, and Woody Peak, hello. And who have we got in the other one? We've got Brezel Blitz. That's a good name, isn't it? Brezel Blitz, Gary Davis, and
Brezel Blitz. Really? Yeah. Well, shout out over in YouTube. Shout out to Peter Croft and Louise Ford and John Hales and Gary Davis and as you said,
Sue Sparkle
Blitz and Sue Sparkle.
Yes.
Sue Sparkle.
And can anybody guess who Peter Croft is?
No, we can't.
Me.
Who's Peter Croft?
Because I got several accounts. You said one of them's Peter Croft. So there we go.
You wouldn't be very good as a spy, Eric, would you? Really? Come on, you've just.
Oh, sorry, I am a spy. Yeah, but I work for the Raw Mint. I'm a mint spy. Yeah. See. Sorry,
this is just dad joke-tastic already. We're not even 10 minutes in.
Yes.
Sue Sparkle. Hi, Sue, by the way. Obviously, we've never met or spoken, but every time I've seen your name come up, it's reminding me of something, and it just clicked what it was. You ever seen... I can't remember the name of the film now. Good grief. Strictly Ballroom. I did remember it. Have you ever seen that film, Strictly Ballroom? In it,
I've heard of it. I'm not sure I've seen it because I used to have a girlfriend that liked all the dance films, and I slept through all of them.
So you're not much of a dancer, then, Eric? Is that what you're saying? No.
I am a complete. I have a very long family tradition of non-dancers. My father would never dance with my mother, and my feet are firmly nailed to the floor. I do not dance. I'm a complete. Yes, I am a non-dancer, and I actually went to dancing classes with a girlfriend I had, and we was dancing around. I said, "Scooby, what's this song?" Have you ever heard of a record called "Get Off My Bloody Toe"? Strange, isn't it? Because I said, "Scooby, what's this song?" She "Get Off My Bloody Toe." I mean, I've never heard of that record. Have you?
No.
So there we are.
No. Well, I've never done that. I've never done that to a delicate lady or a delicate lady's small feet. There's nothing worse, actually, if you are a bloke and you stand on someone's foot, particularly if it's a small foot attached to a pretty lady.
Yes.
It's all over. It's finished, really. It's done. Yeah. It's all over. Yeah. I suppose not that people get together. Anyway, what was my anecdote that I was going to say? Oh, yeah. So... Sue Sparkle, right. So there's this film called Strictly Ballroom. It's kind of, is it semi-camp? I don't know. I don't think it is really. It's about ballroom dancing in Australia, mate. And it's just got, it was a film I went to see when I was courting, you see. And it went down really well. It was great. I don't think I picked it or anything like that. But it's set in the highly competitive world of Australian ballroom dancing, where they all get fopped up to buggery and they're all covered in, all right? And it's about this guy who's a little bit not satisfied with it, and he's got this terrible relationship with his parent. Well, it's actually very fractious. His father has become really a hermit in the family. He's very subdued, and he knows nothing about the history of his mother and father as being champion dancers in the ballroom world from years ago. But something bad happened to his dad and all sorts of stuff like this. But anyway, to cut to the short of it, there is a beautiful dancer, Sue, in there called Tina Sparkles. That's what it reminded me of. So there you go. Tina Sparkles. It's a great film, actually. It is a great film. It's just it's very Aussie. And it's also got, actually, now, I don't like dancing too much either, really, but it's got my favourite dance scene in any film ever. Ever, right?
Really?
And I think you'd like it too, Eric, and I'll tell you why. I've got to set you a bit of context, right? He's supposed to dance with all these fancy gals in the dance studio, is this lad. I can't remember his name. And he's kind of... there's a girl called Fran who, at the beginning of the film, is a bit plain Jane and dowdy dressed and all this kind of stuff, so... And she's doing the sort of two-steps and the foxtrot, all this kind of tame stuff in the dance studio. But he ends up getting to know her and... because he wants to dance his own steps. That's it. It's all about, can you dance your own steps? I sound like an expert on this stuff. I've never been dancing in my life, everybody. But there's still time yet, isn't there? Anyway, they go off, they trot off one day, and they come back to where she lives. And she lives with her uncle. And there's all these, and she's of Spanish descent. So it's all this Spanish family around the back, having a Barbie and everything. There's the Spanish mum there, and it's quite a groovy atmosphere. You'd kind of like all this kind of stuff, and they're burning a fire in a sort of oil barrel. It's called a bit roughy-tufty on the rough side of town. And they come back, and he's furious that she's come home late. And he said, there's no need to pick on her. And he starts pushing him around, this young lad, He said, what do you do? He said, I dance. Oh, he says, you dance. He says, what do you dance? He said, all sorts of things. He said, what? He said, Paso Doble. You heard of that dance? Paso Doble dance? Yeah, at least you've heard of it. Yeah?
Yeah, I've heard of Paso
So
Doble,
it's fantastic. You've got to watch. This scene's just brilliant. This guy, the Spanish guy, short, full of fire. It's really good. He looks at him and goes, Paso Doble? You show me your Paso Doble, right? So he starts doing it with Fran. This Spanish guy just starts laughing, right? And he calls all his mates out. They all come out. They're just laughing their socks off at him. And this young lad's getting furious about this. What's wrong with this? What's wrong with this? He said, Paso Doble, come with me. So he takes him around the back, and the mama, as it were, the elderly Spanish lady who's been in the wash. She's a big gal. Big, right? Rather large.
Yeah.
Lovely, but large. And this guy is in this sort of Toria stuff, jet black, really fiery black hair, short, full of fire as a sort of human being. And he does this dance with this woman, and it's fantastic. It's absolutely brilliant.
I've heard of that.
It's absolutely...
She's a professional dancer, isn't she, apparently?
She might be, but it's just to do with the energy and the whole of this ritual of that particular... You'll have seen it. It's the one where the woman is stood all still on one side of the dance floor, and the guy's basically a bull. Right, he moves around all over the place like a bull, and all this kind of stuff, and it's absolutely a Spanish thing, and it's nothing to do with me. I'm not Spanish. I have no tapping into that culture. But I look at it and I go, if I could ever be taught to dance anything, it would be that, because you also get to wear the most fantastic boots, and when they're stamping on the ground, it's very manly.
Yes, you get all
very
the smoke,
passionate, wonderful.
Yes, because my dad had a theory about dancing.
Yeah.
See, this is my dad's theory, so please don't get upset. I'm only sort of acting as a messenger. And he said there's only two types of people that dance: women and puffs.
Well,
when I went dancing classes, I was dragged off to dancing classes. He took me to one side. He said, "Is there something you haven't told me, son? I mean, are you perfectly all right?" And actually, the girl I was with said that dancing with me was a bit like dancing with a Panzer tank with a dodgy gearbox.
She'd seen one, she'd seen many a Panzer tank.
She said, you go forward, you go backward, you go forward. I haven't got a bloody clue.
Oh, bloody hell.
I kept bumping into people. Yes,
yeah.
but I think my dad's theory is a little bit out of date nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah, well, maybe. I think if you saw that, generally, I would agree with him. Yeah. Although it's different, really. They used to have... Sorry, I mean, we normally talk about usury. We'll get round to that, don't worry. But we can't talk about it for 3 hours straight. Well, we probably could, but you'd all get driven bug batty about it. I've got a few things to bring up about it, actually. Got some nice old stuff from 1311 that I wanted to bring into the show, just to bring you some recent news. This just in from 700 years ago. No, but...
did you dig some poor son up, did you, as you revived him?
Digged him up, found all these bloody usury receipts under his armpits. I went, oh, it was you, was it? Yeah. No, it was... What were we talking about? I've got completely lost. Was talking about dancing. Oh yeah,
Dancing,
we used to have Come Dancing, didn't we, on telly? Do you remember?
Yes.
Remember?
Yes,
And
I've actually suffered that. Yes, I've suffered from.
It was unbelievable.
With a
I used to look at it as a
girlfriend,
kid, going, "What are they doing?" It's just. I think my dad used to go all the time. He said, "Look at them, all done up like
puffs."
like puffs. Look at it.
I've never seen such puffery in all my life.
Of course, my mum loved it because the ladies, and this is true, and I guess the ladies were all wearing. It's one of those nights. Listen, it's a pub night tonight. It's an open house. We're just having a drink and having a chat here tonight. Really, it's loose as a goose tonight. It's very loose.
Yeah.
And
we're at the Queen's Legs pub, aren't we?
We're going on a pub crawl. We're starting off at the Queen's Legs because they're always open.
Yeah.
And that's what you always get a pint down there. My mum loved it, by the way, all that stuff, because all the ladies look beautiful, don't they? All wearing their dresses.
They do look beautiful, yes. Yeah. I do. The only dancing I watched was River Dance.
Yeah.
And I like to see nice ladies with the short skirts, but I was put off a bit when Michael Flatulence came prancing along on the stage, And I lost interest at that point,
Did you?
So I was all right until old Flatulence came on, and then, I thought, I better not. So I just lost interest,
It is really, for men, it's probably... even for young boys who want to kick footballs around and climb up trees, it's probably one of the most uncomfortable things of all when you're that age, wanting to dance, whereas the women naturally want to dance, don't they? I think. I mean, I'm not trying to sort of be... maybe I've assumed too much, but generally that was my experience when I grew up, that you couldn't... They always were dying to just jump on the dance floor. And, of course, they all ended up liking that, that dreaded disco music in the 1970s.
Oh, bloody hell. But I've only seen my dad dance once with my mum, once. Uh-huh. And it's a very painful looking experience because he was normally a very happy-go-lucky bloke, cracking a few jokes today. But he looked bored out.
Oh, your poor dad.
So he's a very shy man.
Was he?
Self-conscious, and he was it was a bit like a scene from Thunderbirds. If you had two Thunderbird dummies dancing, that's what it looked a bit like. Because my uncle's out to dance with my mum, my dad refused to dance.
Right. My dad wasn't too bad. I don't think my dad was too bad. I think he was all right with it. I remember seeing all these photographs of. You see, I think obviously your dad probably didn't. Therefore, I'm assuming bump into your mum in a dance hall. Did he?
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. It's very romantic how they met. And by the way, his father was a non-dancer as well. He believed all the problems of this country came from the dance hall. So he was a non-dancer.
Well, all of them?
Yes. Yeah, all of them. He reckons all the problems in this country come from the dance floor. Dance halls.
Okay.
So it was my granddad that believed that, and my dad believed it was only women and puffs that danced.
So
it's not background.
Really, this is a new one on me. It's not. You're saying it's not the Fabian Society. It's not the Masons. It's the dance hall managers that are really responsible for much of the plight that we're suffering.
That's right. That's my grandfather's thoughts. He said since they had was it dance halls, that's where the troubles of the country started.
All this dancing.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know when dance halls started up, but I know I don't think I've still got it. There's a photograph that used to be in the sort of family heirloom and all that kind of stuff, kicking around, of my mum and my dad at a dance at the Astoria Ballrooms in Leeds in 1948 or 49 when they first met. They got married about 51, 52, something like that, about 3 years later. And they're all there. I might have mentioned this before. This is exciting stuff, isn't it, everybody? You've all tuned in for this. Let's hear about Yorkshire dance halls in the late 40s. But everybody there, and we mentioned this before, all the guys immaculately dressed in suits, the best suits I guess they could afford with the money they had, but they look pretty good to me. They look pretty good. And the women are all in proper dresses and everybody's drinking tea. There's no booze.
Oh, how nice.
Not a drop. Yeah.
Yes.
Not a drop of booze. He said,
amazing.
"Oh no, we start." I think it was afternoon. There were afternoon dances. They'd go down on a sort of Saturday afternoon at like 4 o'clock or something, or 5 o'clock, and have tea and all that kind of stuff. And and just get with it, you know. So it was.
Well,
It looked good. I suppose, Eric, when you think about it, because the dancing back then actually required conscious thought to start off with all the proper steps. You don't want too much booze, otherwise you'd be absolutely, well, literally legless on the dance floor.
That's
and
right.
Of course, but when it's disco, it doesn't matter whether you're drunk. Maybe that's why they invented disco, so that the blokes could just get really, really drunk and just bounce around all over the place, you know. Maybe it's that.
Yeah. I don't understand disco, but the way my grandfather met his future wife, he was a greengrocer and he threw a rotten tomato at someone and he missed and hit his future wife straight in the face. Bosh! And he went over and apologised and mopped her down and they fell in love. Isn't that nice?
Well, it is really.
So
I know as blokes
we're
not supposed to talk like that, but I think you want everybody. Look at me. It's the 100th show. I'm going all sentimental. But you do, don't you? I mean, I don't go around saying, by the way, I think you should all fall in love. But I hope everybody does at least once or twice in their life. It's usually at least twice. Usually in your teenage years when it's the most important thing ever in the whole world, right? And it all falls apart and you're devastated and you don't even know what's going on. I had one of those moments when I was about 19. It took me about 3 weeks to understand that it was no big deal. But at the time, it was. It seemed to be the biggest deal ever in my life. Anybody out there had that experience? I'm assuming you have.
Yes, I've had that experience. But you imagine if that tomato hadn't hit my grandmother, I probably wouldn't be here. Mm-hmm. So it's thanks to that rotten tomato that missed and hit my grandmother because he might not have got into conversation with her. And the way my dad met my mum was very romantic. He was in the war, and his best friend dropped a picture on the floor. And my dad picked the picture up, and he suffered from shyness. My dad was a very shy man, and he always says,
"Bit like you,
star." He said,
"Bit like you take after your daddy. You're a bit shy, aren't you?"
Yeah, and he said, "Your favourite film star?" He said, "No, it's my sister." And he said, "Oh, she's attractive." Well, certain events came along, and what happened is when they came back to England in preparation for D-Day, it just so happened that they had to go and pick someone up in Colchester, and they went past my it wasn't my uncle then because I wasn't born, my uncle's house, and they dropped something off, and then my dad met my future mum, and then they blossomed, and that's it. But my mum was frightened because my dad was going over on D-Day, and she thought she'd never see him again when she waved him off at the train. And she thought that's the last I'm ever going to see him because he's the first. He's going to be in the first wave in, and they won't survive. But he did. And then along came I a long time after the war. You see. So there we go. So that's a little bit of romance for the beginning of the show.
But I like that. We can talk about these things. It's funny you say that about seeing photographs. I got this sent the other day. Did it? Actually, somebody sent this into the Telegram group. Got to read it out, right? It's a photograph of a lady, black and white photograph. Looks as the turn of the century, early 1900s. Okay. She looks quite attractive. I mean, it's difficult to tell because it's black and white, but she's slim, trim, bit of a serious face. And the caption says, "Before dating apps, women used newspaper ads to find distinguished noble men." Let me read you the caption.
Nice.
So it's a nice picture. Sorry, if I knew how to actually blast these things out over YouTube, I'd still cock it up, so you'll just have to bear with me. Anyway, it's a radio show there, so you use your imagination. So there's a photographer, went in the newspaper. Here's the caption beneath. I love this. "Only daughter of a wealthy coffee planter will marry English nobleman or distinguished American if he is handsome and reasonably young. No French, Italians, Spaniards or Hebrews need apply. Has a warm heart, small feet and beautiful teeth. Can dance all night." How appropriate is that for what we've been talking about? That's the bird for me,
marvellous.
Eric. Isn't that lovely?
So Yes, I'd like to reply to that one. Yes, that's lovely. That's
We're a bit late, I think. We've probably missed the RSVP deadline on that one. But it's cool, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I quite like that.
It is.
Yeah, so there you go. That's how we do it. We have big, massive photographs in newspapers, all very formal. I just love the directness of the request. Has a warm heart, small feet and beautiful teeth. Can dance all night. She looks as though she could actually. She's quite trim. All night. Yes. That's it.
And what about, I like the Lonely Hearts column, you know, like, what is it? Lonely Widower. First wife died due to eating poisoned mushrooms. Second wife died due to eating poisoned mushrooms. Third wife died because she refused to eat the poisoned mushrooms. Sorry,
This is good. As you can see, we're dancing around all these topics tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
We got a request. We got a request from Smashing the Likes.
Yes?
He says, Paul, Eric, can you tell where I can find an audio copy of the Hellstorm book, or anyone else in the chat? Thank you in advance.
Yes,
I know we can get a hard copy. Right, okay, fire away.
Well, the audiobook you can get from moneytreepublishing.com.
Ah, that's it.
Okay.
I was going to say that.
Moneytreepublishing.com. I actually know the guy that did that. Oh, it's me. So there you go. Yeah, moneytreepublishing.com. You'll get it. 14 hours of hell. Of the most awful book ever written. Oh, certainly one of them.
Yes.
Yeah. I used to say that to Tom all the time when he was still alive. He passed away around about this. No, not this time. Nearly a year ago. He passed away towards the back end of 2024.
A year ago, was it?
It was. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. But I think I mentioned at the time when he passed, when we were speaking, I said, Tom, you've written the worst book in the world. It's the most awful book. But it is. It's certainly amongst the most awful books. So I hope that helps. Thank you, Smashing the Likes. Yeah, great. Glad to be of help. That's cool.
That's great.
Anybody wants any requests, shout out in the chat or anything like that. And again, I'm going to say, if you want to call in tonight, you can call in. Okay, so where do you go, Paul? I don't think I've got it actually up on the. I'll stick it up on the Rumble and YouTube feeds momentarily.
Yeah.
Or at least after the first hour, because we'll just have a yak.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to something a little bit more serious here. Earlier in the week, Mark Anthony, who might be even here tonight in one of the... I think he is. Hi there.
Hi,
Mark Anthony.
He's in Rumble. Hello, Mark.
Sent... This really got my goat, this. There's some things that... There's certain people... Anyway, this is one of them. Put a post in called "The Concept of English Ethnicity is Not Evil." And this, of course, I agree with that. This is on a site called ukreloaded.com. And the interesting thing about it is that it was a comment from a guy called John McTurnon. Are you familiar with this person at all, Eric? Have you ever heard of him?
No, I'm not. Never heard of him.
Okay. Well, I'll just read you one of the things off his Twitter feed. John, if you're going to look him up on Wikipedia, you'll get very cross. So basically, he worked for Tony Blair, right? He's a completely unacceptable human being to me, just as like I probably am to him. On one of his tweets recently, he said, "Proud to be called a Marxist goon." How about that? Isn't that good?
How nice.
Proud.
What a jolly nice chap, I don't
Yeah,
think.
yeah, he is. Now, I want to play you a little clip. Let me just play you this clip. I don't know if I've ever played it before, but I'm going to play it now. It's very brief. Hopefully this will come through. And we might get a few wretched adverts because I've just gone straight to YouTube. Let's have a look here.
So you're looking to grow your business.
Yeah.
You don't have time.
Shh. I'll just wait until the adverts run out. I'm just waiting for this clip to come up. It's only about 48 seconds long.
Okay.
Did you hear that? Here we go.
Did the miners.
Okay. Yeah,
So this is John McTurnon on GB News a couple of months ago when the farmers thing was going on. Listen to this, if you
We
can.
can do to them what Margaret Thatcher did to the miners.
So just to be clear, John, you would, beat them up?
No, this industry we could do without.
So, okay, all right, so this got weird. So you would do to farmers what Margaret Thatcher did to miners, which was, she
Close down
used
industry.
very heavy-handed police tactics, followed by what? Putting them out of business.
If people are so upset that they want to go on the streets and spray slurry on them, then we don't need the small farmers.
Right. Okay, John, I'm not sure that's a particular... You were, just to clarify, you were a former Labour special advisor, possibly emphasis on the word former there, but...
Can you believe that?
frightening. It is frightening. If he had a brain, he'd be very dangerous.
Yeah,
Boo, yes. Boo,
yeah.
yes.
Ooh,
Yeah.
look at that. There's a cross voice from America. It's very difficult for me to feel anything other than hostility towards a man who expresses sentiments like that. He's absolutely, when you see him in the
I
clip,
agree.
he's a smug, smarmy, emotionally dead hunk of flesh. An absolute, I'm sorry. I don't know what to say now because we've got new freedom laws. So probably, even if I just think a thing, I get locked up. We're going to have to look at this, of course. But he'd written a thing saying that English
I can help you
ethnicity.
there.
He said, just to go back to the original point, just hold on there, Paul. He said in this article that English ethnicity is evil. That's what he said. Can you believe this?
Has he ever heard of the word Has he ever heard of the word treason? Because that's what he's committing. Because he's actually metaphorically urinating on the graves of our ancestors by saying that.
Yeah.
So that's treason, as far as I'm concerned. And
everybody that fought and died for the
Precisely.
country.
Precisely, yes.
Yeah, he's just
I can
absolutely
help
like,
you with that.
It's like the Islington set or something. Yeah, Paul, please. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Paul from America. Welcome to the show, Paul.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Now, I can help you with that because anything that you might think to or want to say, I mean, I can say it because this part of the program is not intended to be a attitude or a position accepted by any of the other guests or networks or whatever. I am a national of the United States. My rights and freedoms, my person rights and property are protected by treaty and international law, and I will say whatever I want to say because I can say it irrespective of whatever statutes, acts, codes, or administrative policy that might be in effect. What I say should be no reflection on Eric Von Essex or Paul English or anybody else on this program or on this or any other network. WBN 324, Global Voice Radio, Eurofolkradio.com, Radio Soapbox. It doesn't matter. It's all on me. Come and get me. My rights, person, and property are protected by treaty and international law. So, whatever I want to say, I will say. And that guy is an absolute idiot. He's a fool. And he should not be given a platform of any kind.
Nope.
Not even writing his dribble on paper airplanes and sailing them off of street corners. I mean, the guy's ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't normally react full on. I think it really woke me up. You know what I mean? You sort of go along, well, we'll just accommodate everything. But there's something about his delivery, the smug look on his face, the fact that he's proud to be a Marxist, which is basically saying, I'm glad I'm mentally ill, because that's really, it's a mental illness, right?
It is.
So, okay, fine. Well, at least someone's pleased about it. And they use the word ethnicity. I'm not into the word ethnicity. It's simply race. Okay, so for me, or tribe, all these. There's so many different words to describe basically anything that a child knows that can see with his own eyes or her own eyes. Anyway, I had to write a few comments about it, of course. So underneath it says what on that video. The original title was "We can do to the farmers what Margaret Thatcher did to the miners." So I've rewritten it. And I think it should read this. We can do to McTurnon what the English peasants did to Cromwell. What do you think, Eric?
Excellent. First class. Yes.
Excellent.
It's called reverso headlining, and everybody should get into the habit of it. When you see these headlines, just switch the nouns, or do what you need to do. You'll come up with the reverso meaning, and it'll be right in line with where you're thinking your heart is every single time. The idea that a man could come out and verbally attack farmers, he might as well say, we're going to starve you all to death. I mean, that's literally what he's saying.
I agree. Yes, right. Yeah. And we need to get the bowler hat farmer on here because he's been on my show a couple of times. And
how fit is he?
He's at the front end.
He's a farmer, he'd be quite fit. Can't we have a fight between him and John McTurnon? I'm serious. Just have a fight. Get a farmer in. Get in there, McTurnon. Let's see what you're made of, you pansy. And he just needs blatting. It's complete. It's the worst. And a couple of more things I wanted to say, right? Because I wrote a couple of things. So I said as well, just in the little thread, the word Backpfeifengesicht springs to mind. Do you remember that word? It came up several months ago.
Yes. Yeah? That's German, isn't it? It means
it's German. I'm going to copy and paste it, by the way, to all you lucky chaps and chapesses in the.
I think I know what it means.
Yeah, it means. Go on. What do you think it means?
He who is desperately in need of a fist in the face.
That's it. It's a face in need of a fist. Isn't that great?
Face in need. Isn't that a lovely term?
A face that needs a fist. Yeah, it's just absolutely brilliant. German, of course, proper words. You know, we don't use any of those Latin things. We're using proper words here.
Well, was it now? You said it once. I can't remember it. What was
you want
it
to say it again?
Oh yes, please.
Yes.
I'm pasting it in so you can all practice your pronunciation. Everybody, I've sent it to the grumblers in Rumble. Not that they are grumblers; they're fantastic, and I'm sending it over to YouTube. So look that one up. It's Backpfeifengesicht. Yes, and that came from Mr. I checked it with Mr. Anderson, who's going to be on next week, actually. So Thomas Anderson, he's not been on for quite a while, but I spoke to him the other day. So Thomas is an author, written an awful lot of books, and we'll be finding out about his English is immaculate. He's the guy that came on and talked about the bell, the Nazi bell. Do you remember? About a year back? Something like that.
Yes. The naughty Nazis, yes.
Yeah, so he'll be the guest next week. But there we go. I just want you to know that. And then also I want to give you another quote, because this sprang to mind as I was thinking about this.
Yeah.
Cornelio Zilia Cudriano, you might not know him, okay, and he's obviously frowned upon by the people that would frown upon this. Codriano said this: "If I had but one bullet and were faced by both an enemy and a traitor, I would let the traitor have it." I'm just saying, I didn't say that, but Cornelius Cudriano said it. How about this as well? Because I really want to have a go at this guy. This guy really... I found out, you can find out on his Wikipedia entry, so I'm only reading stuff that's online. He also Welshes on his bets. In November 2016, McTurnon bet blogger Stuart Campbell $100 on a Clinton victory in the 2016 US presidential election, which he lost. Campbell has said that McTurnon failed to honour the bet, and Campbell has taken court action against him.
Good.
I put thick as SH1T doesn't even come close with regards to this guy. He's a complete and utter buffoon, but then he was appointed by Blair. I don't know what you're supposed to do with these people. I mean, genuinely, I can't. They need to be mentally sectioned. You've got to really get them under the Mental Health Act. Dangerous people.
I agree with you.
I'm serious.
Well, what about that? I tell you the funniest one I heard, and this was on Facebook. If only I could find his name, people in chat might know him. But when Pol Pot came to power, which was in the 1970s, he was a Scottish
Pol Pot
Marxist.
was.
No, Pol Pot
was Scottish. Aye.
Hey, he had a couple of McDonald's up his kilt. No, actually, there was a. Sorry, I said that a bit wrong. Actually, no, there was a Scottish Marxist that was so pleased that Pol Pot came to power that he flew over to Cambodia to thank him. To shake his hand. And when he got off the plane, instead of getting a red carpet, they put him in jail because they thought he was a spy, and then they hung him. So I shouldn't laugh.
It's just, what are you supposed to do with people?
That's about the one good thing that Pol Pot did, I think.
He was a nasty piece of work. He really was a horrible creature, Pol Pot.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely repellent. But, they're cut from the same ideological cloth. There's something basically unstable about them. Really,
there is something.
It's very, very dreadful.
But what gets me, I strongly believe these people have got a hypnotic power. I mean, how did Mao manage to kill almost 1 billion people? Not personally, but get people. They are such manipulators. It's like you could never ever outmaneuver a psychopath. You never beat a psychopath. Get out of the way of them. Because they're so brilliant at what they do. And
it's true, they are.
The way you never beat. Just make sure you get as far away from them as you possibly can.
You've heard of a guy? Have you heard of a guy called Edgar Casey?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Yep.
He was the bloke who predicted things in his dreams.
He's an amazing life. Yeah, an amazing life. And I've got one book by him. But he spoke at one of the meetings. These papers came out after his death, I think. I can't remember when he died. Was it late 30s or early 40s or something like that? 1940s?
It's in the 1940s, late 40s, I think, about 45.
He was talking basically about what we would say is the psychopathic personality. And he said that there are human-looking humans down here that really haven't got a soul.
That's right.
Right.
And I suspect that that's true.
Yeah.
I think it is true. Just look at Keir Starmer.
Well, I think he must have started off with one,
May-
but it's
may I
been completely
present exhibit number
anaesthetised
one?
out of him. Something's happened dreadful for him. You know, if I take a more sympathetic view, you could just go, that's tragic. But the problem is he's supposedly in charge of the country, and therefore it's not just tragic, it's very, very dangerous. Very.
Yeah. Well,
The reason that psychopaths are so hard to beat is because they are willing to take actions that the people are unwilling to take to defend their own lives. The psychopaths are willing to take actions to kill the people, and the people won't go to that extreme just to defend themselves. They just won't do it.
No.
So they're slaughtered like sheep.
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
It's fun. Actually, I've got a little. I didn't think I had any clips, and now I'm just banging around and finding them. You remember Margaret Thatcher? You all remember.
Can't
vaguely.
remember. I can't forget it.
Can you
yes.
remember? This is only 15
bloody hell.
seconds, but it's now because I never know quite where we're going to go. Some of these clips sort of fit in. This one fits in right now. This is just 15 seconds. This is what she had to say, I guess, in the 1980s.
The single biggest intellectual error during my political lifetime has been to confuse freedom with equality. In fact, equality, being an unnatural condition which can only be enforced by the state, is usually the enemy of liberty.
There you go. It can only be enforced by the state. I'm always banging on about this word equality. There's no such thing except through force. No. And then it's not equality, is it? Because someone's an enforcer and someone's the enforcee, or whatever your status is, the guy being beat up.
Yes.
It's a complete joke. And that's what Marxists are all about. The pursuit of equality is literally death to everybody else. That's what it means.
That's right. Look at Martin Luther King. He was a brilliant actor. Yeah, that's the only thing. He was a very clever actor, but the speech that he gave,
he liked
wasn't written
brothels
by
too.
him.
You know, he loved brothels.
I didn't know he liked drinking broth.
He
That's
did. Yeah,
interesting.
he loved like 4 pints of brothels.
Yeah, 4 pints of broth.
He got
please,
kicked out of the Queen's legs though. They wouldn't let him in. Get out!
I thought he
would have been
in.
the first.
Yeah,
but yes, there's a nice picture of him with his handlers next to him. I won't say any more than that. A very famous picture of him with yes, but he was he's just an actor. That's all, and he just read the words. Very clever actor at that.
aren't we
Yeah, I can
scathing
say,
about
really.
all these amazing people in history? Aren't we awful about them? Shouldn't we pay them
Well,
more
Dalai Lama.
respect?
People.
Aren't we terrible about them?
There are no-
I mean, really.
There are no amazing people in history. There are evil, wicked, despicable people that have been presented to us as deities so we can carve out an entire month for them. Just give them their special day and give them their all. At Columbus, Christopher Columbus, oh, he was just a prince. You know, just ask a Native American who Christopher Columbus was. I don't think they're going to say, we worship him on his own day. No.
No,
No, they're not going to say
and
that.
but there's lots of them like that, isn't there? I mean, you think everybody is held up. I mean, look at the Dalai Lama. And the Dalai Lama, people go, he's marvelous.
yeah.
The real one
Yeah.
can't stand him. I believe he's on the payroll, the CIA, allegedly. I believe. Is there a possibility?
That's what I've heard.
I've got
That's what I've heard.
an anecdote about the Dalai Lama. It's not. I mean, it's silly. An old friend of mine, who's also passed away about 9 years ago, in Peru. So the location was exotic, but the manner of his passing was not quite so good. However, wonderful guy,
Oh, I'm
really
sorry to hear that.
close friend of mine. Well, you don't know these guys. It happens all the time. He, before he left England, because he was to go over there, well, he'd lived in England all his life, but I remember him telling me, we have a thing over here. If you're in America, you might know of it. Maybe you have something similar called the pub quiz. They have one, don't they, every week at the Queen's Legs, don't they? I think, Eric.
That's
over
right.
in Fockham?
That's right.
Yep. Yeah.
Yes, that's it. That's when they're open. Yeah.
Yeah, the pub quiz. This joke about the Queen's Legs is going to run and run, isn't it? See what I did there?
Yeah, yes, it is.
And,
lots more mileage to get out of that one.
We've barely begun, everybody. You have to bring your bath bag next week. So, anyway, he was in a pub quiz, right? And the question, he sat with these guys, and he had a lot of good general knowledge. He was quite good with all this stuff, his football questions and junk and TV stuff. But one came up and said, question number 32. Who is the spiritual head of Tibet? Who is the spiritual head of Tibet? So this guy next to him writes down Dalai Lama, which I just love. Dalai Lama. Aye, is he there? I've just dialed him up. No, Dalai Lama. Do you need one? It's Dalai Lama. Yeah, I quite like that.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
What about that Indian geezer?
What's
Have you
that?
seen that Indian geezer? There's an Indian geezer called Fake Guru. And he
Sad.
stands
You
up.
mean Sad Guru?
Well, I call him Fake Guru, but Sad Guru, yeah, he's at the World Economic Forum.
Yeah.
And he wants to reduce the population. Oh, yes.
How sad can you
yes.
get? Do you think they roped him in to appeal to that race of people, to that culture? I wonder if they did that. Or is it that over in the West they associate guys with long beards coming from that part of the world with wisdom? Because I don't, by the way. Any bloke that stands on one leg in a jungle for 25 days doing this yoga stuff, what is the bloody point of that? He could have been getting on with doing something like getting some plumbing work done. So
He could have been fixing his shed up. Oh, by the way, Mark Anthony's just said, as your dad used to say, no, it's actually my granddad, Mark, used to say that that John McTurnon needs a bag of hot shit over his head.
I'm terribly sorry out there in Radioland. This sometimes turns into a slightly vulgar show, and it just did.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry.
We are sorry, aren't we? We're terribly sorry about all this stuff.
Yes, it's like if
I do agree.
If I see an innuendo, I just whip it out. I can't stand innuendos. So,
Seeing as you opened the door, Granddad, he lived to be 106 years old, and when he was like 22 years old, he met this old farmer, and this old farmer told him, sprinkle a little bit of gunpowder on your eggs every morning and you'll live to a ripe old age. Well, Granddad, he did that religiously every single day. He lived to be 106. He had 8 strong boys. He had 21 grandchildren. He had 8 great-grandchildren and 4 great-great-children. Incidentally, he also left about a 40-foot hole where the crematorium used to be.
It's quite lively this pub tonight, isn't it? It's quite lively.
like that one. Oh, that's a cracker, that one. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
that's
a
a good
cracker. Oh, by the way, Woody Peak says Sad Guru is a sick globalist. Oh, you're praising him there. And, by the way, Mark Anthony says, apologies, Mr. English, for lowering the tone. No, it's me
I
that
don't
said
think we've
the
even
naughty
started
word.
yet, Mark Anthony. We're going to have to
No.
go quite a way yet. It's early days yet,
Yes.
don't worry.
I forgot before the 9 o'clock watershed. I do apologise to the people who are going, oh, you're listening in. But no, the thing is that no, my granddad got it right. He wants a bag of what's it over his head or in his face. But how do these people get into such prominent positions? That's what I question. The man is an idiot.
I think they may have financial assistance from a slightly hidden quarter myself, Eric, but call me a conspiracy. Yes, I tend to that view, really. I do tend to that view.
Rather like Idi Amin's son was talking about this week. I don't know if you saw that.
I did, brilliant.
But
Absolutely spot on.
and
Yeah.
Idi
Really good.
Amin, I'm beginning to re-question, because I was old enough to remember when he was in power, and the propaganda was thick and coming over thick, and a lot of people have said there's a lot of rubbish that was said about him. I do not know.
Well, where did we hear
do you
it
know
all
any
from?
more?
Where did we hear it all from?
The BBC.
Yes. Okay. So I'm not saying he was a good guy. Didn't he eat his enemy? According to them, they used to put his enemies in the fridge and eat them, didn't he?
Well, that's what all good dictators do, isn't it? I mean, that's,
Yeah, you're a bit peckish.
Oh, please.
You're victorious in the battle, and your cupboards
Bit
are a
of a
bit
cannibal.
bare. Terribly sorry, I'm going to have to eat you up. Yeah, bit much.
But,
Actually,
no,
speaking of
I don't know how
cannibalism,
true it is.
speaking of
Yes.
cannibalism, which I do all the time, it's a dreadful thought, isn't it? Actually, I'm getting a bit peckish as we're talking about this, but do you remember that? I caught this the other day. Sorry, this is called jumping around from one topic to another with no particular structure type show. Okay, so it's just the way it's going to roll. But my son said, "Hey, Dad, have you seen this?" And I said, "No." And he put it on. It was an interview with a survivor from the Argentinian rugby crash. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes, where they all out to eat each other.
It's absolutely what an interview.
It's horrendous.
Well, it's him as a man. This guy that survived. There were 45 of them crashed, and 17 came out alive. So there's about 25 died, something like that, right? And but his testimony. It's about 40 minutes. This interview, it's absolutely gripping. Because he's very calm. He's a very distinguished and handsome-looking guy now in his 60s. Really, very striking. Sort of a very, like you would imagine, a sort of mature statesman looking. Wonderful guy. Absolutely wonderful. And he's just talking about how his life literally changed and what happened in the crash and how their thoughts turned to survival. And the whole struggle for it. Can't recommend it highly enough. And they didn't sit down and sort of cook them all up. That's not what they did. That's not what they did. And he was just talking about hunger. He said, you can go for a few days and be hungry. He said, this isn't like that. This is that your entire body is absolutely craving food. It's almost, he said, it's one of the most terrible, terrible things. You want to just eat anything. Your body is just screaming out to get sustenance into it. And they ate the pilot. How about that? They ate the pilot.
No
more flying for him. But I think they were a bit cross because the pilot did make an error, and that's why they ended up. It was pilot error. He misread these coordinates, and so he actually landed the plane in the wrong part. Thought it was 45 miles further on, and dropped the plane down into the early part of the. So they were only about 45 miles away from civilization, but it's so cold up there. They might as well have been 45,000 to start off with. And they called the search off after about 10 days, where and some of the things that they had to get up to, it's amazing. Absolutely an amazing story. And it changed all their life. Now, there's a picture at the end of the survivors. They're all still alive, about 17 of them today. Quite an amazing tale. If you like that sort of thing.
That's right. I think the psychological effect that had on them, though. I mean, how they could have got over that. I mean, it must be in some form of shock. Although it depends on the individual, because this is the subject I was going to go on to later on. That's shock, because I think most of the country is in shock, because something like that would put you into shock. A survival situation.
We had a similar thing like that here. There's a
sorry. That's Billy Silver.
Okay.
Did you see that?
Well, it was a similar situation. It was the Old West. It was the Old West, and it was on the Oregon Trail. And there was a group of people that were traveling the Oregon Trail, and they went over what's called Donner Pass.
Right.
And they had problems, and they couldn't go any further, and they ran out of food. And what they would do is they actually voted as to who they would eat next, and had turned. I mean, some people had turned to cannibalism to survive, and it was understood that the group would vote on who the weakest and the least likely to survive the trip would be, and then that would be who they would eat. It was called the Donner Party. Look it up. Google it. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible.
How do you spell Donner?
Donner. Delta, Oscar, November, Echo, Romeo.
There's a bad joke in there, and I don't want to tell it.
No. Paul, are you going to read out what Billy Silver?
No, not Donner
Donner.
and Blitz, and it's made me thinking of Donner kebabs. I wonder if that's where it came from. Yeah, that's awful.
Never done
Yeah,
it.
Of course, it
could
used to
be.
happen to the
That
Royal
is
Navy all the time. Well, it did.
Oh, that
Those
was the
guys
thing. That
shipwrecked and
happens,
everything,
yeah.
and out on a raft after a battle and everything, floating around the Atlantic. I mean, bloody hell, what you going to... It's just unbelievable, really. So, there you go. Anyway.
But, are you going to read out what Billy Silver said? 'Cause
I'm going to... You read it out. So, Billy Silver gets comment of the year so far. We're just going to have to go back to the last anecdote. I mentioned, of course, they crashed in the Andes, and the guy that they ended up eating was the pilot, and Billy Silver said...
They ate the pilot. That's probably why they crashed. So- That's it, my funny bone.
It's so bad, but it's so funny. Look, I'm trying to
so
fly
glad
the
it
bloody
is funny.
plane.
Get off.
Hey, give me back. Give me that arm back. I need that. I need that.
Stop putting salt and pepper on my arm, will you?
You know, I wouldn't be sneezing so much if you'd keep that damn pepper away from my face.
What are you doing?
Boy.
Smacking.
Are we really? We're really plunging we're really getting into bad taste
How-
territory, are we? Pun intended.
How can a show be so lighthearted and so dark at the same time? I think
It's
Paul
the-
English Live
It's
is
the
the only
English
one
way.
that
It's
can
the
pull it
English
off.
way, Paul. This is what we do over here.
Well,
it's called Gallows humour. We're just absolutely laughing
Yeah.
our socks off as we get shot to pieces. Well, that's really rather funny. His head came clean off. All that kind of stuff. Yeah, so it's just the way it is over here, mate. That's what people are like. We're absolute scum, aren't we, Eric? I know I am.
we certainly are.
Yeah.
But it's quite honestly, though. I mean, that's what's got us through hardship. This Gallows shoe. Quite honestly.
Yeah, well,
Right.
yeah. There's been a lot of gallows around, hasn't there? There's been a lot of
It
gallows
certainly
around.
has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Laugh about
Anyway,
it or
look,
you'll go
well,
mad.
Well, what
coming to-
about that gravestone up
Yeah, go on.
north? Very quickly. That's serious. You can go and see it. People photographed it. Wherever you may be, let your wing go free, because that's what killed me. And that's actually on a gravestone up north. I think it's up in.
Say that
West
again.
Riding
Say
or
that
something
again,
in
Eric.
Yorkshire.
Say it again.
On a
What it was.
gravestone, it
Yeah.
said, "Wherever you may be, let your wind go free, as that's what killed me."
Wind.
That's on a gravestone. Yes, let your wind go free, because that's what killed me.
Oh boy, that's
Oh,
the way you
sod.
deal with it. That's the way you
Yeah.
deal with it. Yeah, fantastic stuff. That's brilliant. Anyway, look, we've raced through the first hour down here at the Queen's Legs, and so welcome again, everybody, to the show. I hope you're all warming up. You've got a glass of your favourite tipple. Mine's currently a pathetic sort of water and apple juice, but I am thinking about a glass of Chablis or something like that. Anyway, let's have a song, shall we? We do have a song.
Yes.
And seeing as how the theme is happiness, because we're always happy here, I want to play you this song, which is a very happy song by one of Eric's favourite singers.
Yes, here it comes.
Here it comes. So we'll be with you after this little song, and sing along now, everybody. It's all about happiness.
It's a happy day.
It is.
Lay. For you and me, for us and we, all the clouds have rolled away. It's a happy day. Lay. The sun shines bright and the world all right. It's a happy day. 4 and 20 sunbeams are dancing round my face. 4 and 20 more are dancing every place. It's a happy day. Lay. You can't go wrong if you sing a song. It's a happy day. Let's celebrate, let's get that holiday spirit. We've got our cares on the run. Let's shout it out so everybody can hear it. We found our place in the sun. It's a happy day. Lay. For you and me, for us and we, all the clouds have rolled away. It's a happy day. Lay. The sun shines bright and the world all right. It's a happy day. 4 and 20 sunbeams are dancing wrong if you sing a song. It's a happy day. Happy day, toodle-oodle-oodle-oodle-oodle-ay. For you and me, for us and we, all the clouds have rolled away. It's a happy day, toodle-oodle-oodle-oodle-oodle-ay. The sun shines bright and the world's all right. It's a happy day. 4 and 20 sunbeams are dancing round my face. 4 and 20 more are dancing every place. It's a happy day, toodle-oodle-oodle-oodle-oodle-ay. You can't go wrong if you sing a song. It's a
3-4 radio. Stop them.
Attention all listeners. Are you seeking uninterrupted access to WBN 324 Talk Radio despite incoming censorship hurdles? Well, it's a breeze. Just grab and download Opera Browser, then type in WBN324.zil. And stay tuned for unfiltered discussions around the clock. That's WBN324.zil.
The views, opinions and content of the show hosts and their guests appearing on the World Broadcasting Network are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of its owners, partners and other hosts or this network. Thank you for listening to WBN 324 Talk Radio.
So just in case you weren't clear, it really is a happy day. And I'm assuming, Eric, you feel a lot happier having heard that song. Yeah.
It's, those tunes, they were made during the Depression or when people were down to cheer people
up. The 2020s,
they were really happy.
The Depression.
Yeah, the 2020s.
The 2020s.
But can you think of any records today that really cheer you up? I can't think of any that cheer you up. There's none.
No.
None at all.
Well, there's room for a new record label called Cheerful Records. Everything's happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
We should have that.
Yeah.
Because I got one on my mind. Where was it there? Marty Wilde made one about a place in Wales. What was it called now? Do you remember? It was 60s, late 60s.
Right.
And he thought it's such a weird name that he wrote a song about it. Someone in chat will find it. I can't. I'm sure it must be somewhere. Marty Wilde, 1968. He made a hit with it. And it's a real happy song. We used to have lots of happy songs, but it's so sad.
I didn't. Now, don't mention his name, but I haven't mentioned who sung that song, have I, in the show so far? I haven't said his name.
I don't know.
No, don't say it. Don't say it because.
Well, I can't say it because I know who it is.
Oh, good. That's even better.
Yeah.
So, tonight's pub quiz. First question, tonight's pub quiz. Winner gets a Fockham Hall pencil, courtesy of the Phantom Postal Service from Fockham Hall. You'll just have to imagine it turns up. Who was it that sung that song? Who was it? What was the name of the singer? The singer who was singing that song?
Peter Glaze. Was it Peter Glaze?
No.
From Cracker Jack?
No.
It wouldn't be him.
No.
I don't know.
No. I mean, the show's going to go awfully quiet if we have to sit here and go through.
By the way, do you remember Peter Glaze from Cracker Jack? He was embarrassing. He was like the drunk uncle that turns up at a wedding.
I think that's the reason why you don't forget him. Really, he wore was short, wore those little round glasses, and was always eager around. Who was it? Crowther or something? David Crowther. Was it or something?
Yes. Or was it Leslie Crowther?
Leslie Crowther. Okay, yeah.
And he was the most irritating person you could ever wish to think of. Something about him.
You didn't like him then? You didn't like him?
No. I wouldn't eat him.
I think he was sort of lots of energy married up to insufficient talent, really, which is always a little bit awkward when someone's full of confidence and very loud and all over the place and no one's really getting much entertainment value from it. A bit like this show at times, really. Hey,
You're spot on, actually.
there you go. Just did a bit of self-assessment, and we worked it all out. So it's all done.
Who's the singer then? Who's the Phantom singer?
Well, I'm waiting. I don't know. We'll give people. I'll give a counting. Got 25 seconds. No one's written in. So I'm going to repeat the question. We just played. It's a happy day. Don't go to the search engines or pick up your AI out of your back pocket. No. Steady. Well, this is whether it's in your brain. I mean, this is all quite pointless in a way because you can just go find out anything. Who was it?
Alice Gorgeous has said the Queen's legs will run on and on.
Yeah.
While we're waiting for a response, one more little tidbit.
Yes, Paul.
Yeah. One more little tidbit on the Donner Party. There was actually a movie in 2009 that was made on the Donner Party.
Oh, wow.
And who would like to guess what the also known as title of that movie was? Another trivia question.
Gobbler's Gulch. I don't know.
No. Let's see if anybody in the Rumble chat comes up with it.
No one would know that.
What was the AKA of the movie The Donner Party?
Well, I'll put you all out of your misery. I know you're on tenterhooks, but that was Arthur Askey.
All right.
Really? Arthur Askey.
Excellent.
And my dad hated Arthur Askey.
So did my dad. My dad couldn't stand him. He said he bloody detested him. My dad.
Yeah, my dad.
They had something in common there. Yeah. He actually switched it off when he came on. He couldn't stand
dad did too. He came.
Yeah. He just couldn't
we might as well have been brothers, Eric. It's just amazing. Yeah. He came on to Parkinson a couple of times, and every time he came on, he always used to sing that song, "Busy
Hello,
Little
Playmates."
Bee. Hello, Playmates. He'd do that busy little bee and go, bzz, 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 I'm a busy little bee. And my dad used to go, bloody busy little bee. Just turned it off. It's so funny. I hate that bloke. He's not funny. And he wasn't. He wasn't really. But anyway, he made us happy momentarily until we found out who he was.
Yes.
And now the song's rubbish, everybody. So we hope you didn't enjoy it.
That's right. and Mark Anthony's come up with the goods. Thanks, mate. He always comes up with he's fantastic. He always comes up with the goods. He said the song that I was talking about by Marty Wilde is Abergavenny.
Is it a happy song?
About
is it?
Abergavenny. Yeah, it's about Abergavenny.
Right.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
We're going to Abergavenny, and it's. I mean, what a weird name of a place, Abergavenny.
Well, Welsh names are very distinctively Welsh, aren't they? Abergavenny.
That's right.
They are.
They're very apparently distinct. Welsh is similar to Hebrew, isn't it? Hebrew or something?
They can read Hebrew. They can read Paleo Hebrew, and they can read hieroglyphs. I don't mean all the Welsh people today, but those that are familiar with the actual Welsh tongue. I mean, it probably must be pockets now, a bit like when the Cornish language finally disappeared. But maybe not, because there has been... I mean, I remember in the 70s, there was a big thing on the BBC. Don't they have, what is it, Clyde Cymru or Cymru or whatever it is?
Yeah.
There's actually a Welsh language station, which I think is great, by the way. I'm not, so if you're Welsh... I've got Welsh blood in me. My grandma was Welsh. She was an Edwards. Or her mother was or something. So I'm about a 16th Welsh or something like that.
Well, I'm part Welsh and all.
Yeah. It's probably why I quite like singing. La, 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 la. And there was actually some talk on the chat about a week back about male Welsh voice choirs, and they are fantastic. They're absolutely brilliant.
That's why when I was a kid, I used to get the Welshes.
What does that mean then?
Diarrhea.
Don't look at me. You invited him on the program, Paul.
It's a good job we're in the pub and not broadcasting this. That's what I can say. Holy moly.
All right. Well, I'm going to put people out of their misery too. The alternate title of the movie, The Donner Party, was simply Famished.
Oh. Famished. Oh, that's a bit much, isn't it? That's a bit much.
Good heavens. At Woody Peak, there's a Welsh town called Abergavenny. Admittedly, it isn't written like that. a bigger. But what about that film that was made about whales in Hollywood called, was it Our Deep? Oh, what was it called now?
Our Valley.
Our green is our valley.
That's it.
Is my valley.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And it was Americans trying to put on Welsh accents. And Roddy McDowell that was the first film he did. He was about 13 in it. Roddy McDowell.
Oh, I hate that guy.
Yeah, he was in monkey films, wasn't he? Planet of the Apes.
Yes, Planet of the Apes.
And
Yes.
dog films. He was with Lassie, wasn't he?
That was a load of crap, wasn't it?
He was with in all those Lassie
Was he?
films. Yeah, I never liked the Lassie films. They were, even as a young boy, prone to sentimentality. Even I noticed that there was so much of it, I couldn't breathe. It was just a little bit too much. Yeah.
And
Go
did you know
get
there's
him,
about
Lassie.
27 lassies?
Mm.
There was 27 lassies, and they were females, and it's supposed to be a male. So that's the first trans dog they actually had on film.
No, actually, Lassie was supposed to be female, but most of the dogs were male.
Oh, I got it round the wrong way round.
That's backwards. Yeah.
And did you know that breed of dog is the most dumbest out of all the dogs? Apparently,
What is it?
It's most stupid.
A collie.
It's
a collie dog.
Yeah. Collies are not very bright. They're
Right.
about as thick as two short planks.
I mean, they're not named after cauliflowers, are they? It's spelt
No.
Collie. I thought it was a collier dog or something.
Yes.
But I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know anything about dogs, really, except they've got 4 legs and they eat and bark a bit. That's about it.
Yes,
They're herding. They're herding dogs, so really all they need to know is how to get a sheep motivated to go where they want it to go.
Yeah.
They usually do that by nipping them in the back of the legs. But I had a Shetland sheepdog and a Siberian Husky at the same time.
Right.
And the Shetland sheepdog, he was a pretty smart boy. He was well trained and he was cute and he was small. He was too small to be a show dog, even though he was show quality. But it was the Siberian Husky that actually knew how to get in trouble. We went to the home improvement store. We were gone like 15 minutes. When we came back, Bandit, and yes, that was the dog's real name, Bandit, had found the 2 pounds of ribeye steaks on the kitchen counter, and they were gone. They were gone. We weren't even able to find the wrapper. And
I think sheepdogs.
We were gone like.
Sheepdogs are amazing. I mean, it's the only dog I'd really want, and I'm absolutely the least fit person in the world to have it, because it's got to be put to work. There's a fantastic clip. It must have gone viral. It's up in the Yorkshire Dales, of course. Muddy sort of track going off into a field. These dogs just sat there looking at him. He goes, so it's just like one word, like go, right? You just see this dog pelt off into the distance. Camera's just sat there. It disappears just slightly over the brow of this hill. You wait in about 20, 30 seconds. Suddenly there's about 100 sheep. This one dog, right, is basically moving 100 sheep. They all come down. It's just so impressive. It's just, and the bond that they have with the guy, and they love to work, and you love to see them work, and it's just fabulous. It's absolutely amazing. They're very, very bright. I remember I was up at my brother's about 15 years or so ago for a party. There was a guy this is up in Yorkshire. I was back up there. There was a guy that was just, and he said, oh yeah, I had one. He said, it was just too smart. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, we thought it was going out at night. And so, and just going off and doing its own stuff. He said, so I put a lock on the gate and all this sort of, like a latch key lock, not a lock, not one that you put a key in, but what do you call it? A latch gate, you know?
Yeah.
He said, so we got up one night. It's about 4 o'clock in the morning. It's summer. Dawn's and dog. He said, the dog crept out, goes up to the gate, gets up there, opens the door, comes back and shuts it. So they didn't even know it had gone. And then one day, it actually went and caught a train. It went and caught a train. His dog got on a train And they found it. They got a phone call because it had a collar around it. They said, "Yeah, your dog's obviously it's just got off a train in Skipton or somewhere. He'd gone about 15 miles on the train." That's a dog that knew how to get around a bit. It's very impressive, isn't it? It's very impressive.
That's really
Do
good.
like that. Yeah,
But
it is.
trouble is, sheepdog trials, they never say which dog was guilty, do they? Because you used to have it on television, you know.
Yes,
but
That's rough justice, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh dear.
You started
The
it.
Kingston Whittlers said, have you noticed how on TV and radio, I don't know, I don't have a TV, they celebrate Welsh, Scottish and Irish music,
Yep.
folk music, but never English. English folk music is fantastic, and as an Englishman, the instruments resonate. There's a natural vibration to it that warms the heart. You know you are home. Yes, I agree with you. Well, it's Catherine Tickle, isn't there? She plays... they're like bagpipes, but they shove under her arm. Have you seen those bagpipe things? They're very weird, very different to the Scottish ones, the Northumbrian pipes. That's Catherine Tickle. Who else is there? But no, you don't hear English folk music very much. Don't hear it at all. In fact,
There's some here. So that was from
That's nice.
Playford. Yeah, you remember my anecdote about dancing a few years ago?
yes.
That's what they were playing all night.
Really?
That stuff. That's Playford, yeah, who compiled all this stuff in the 1600s. Actually, the guy that I met, Coleman, not that he'll be catching this, but if he is, hi Coleman, he just emailed me the other day. I've just been busy. I think it's the first email I've had from him in 2 years. Get your finger out, mate. No, I hadn't written to him either. But he plays that stuff. He's from Chicago, of Irish descent, and he plays it. And it's interesting, just to back you up, Kingston Whittler, he sent me all these videos of going around the States playing all this type of folk music with these organized dances. They're
Beautiful.
really
It
brilliant.
is beautiful.
It's really good. And he said to me when we were, he said, look, I play all of the stuff. I play the Irish and all this stuff. He said, but the best to me is the English stuff. I said, really? And of course, it was embarrassing for me because I'd not really listened to it. I couldn't have said the word Playford to him because I didn't 3 or 4 years ago when we met. Actually, probably a bit longer than that. And, but it's an amazing story about all that stuff. And there really is something... Yeah, it's difficult to start off with to the modern ear because you're used to a din, right, and being overpowered by stuff and much more dramatic and heavy sort of sound and all that. So it's very light and almost thin to the modern ear. But the melodies that are in it and the structures are fantastic and they're very dignified and you can begin to sort of smell civilization in the whole thing. So that's what we're going to have to do at the Fockham Hall Festival.
I 100% agree with you there because I am sick of... Well, I was in my car the other day and there's a car drew up next to me and all I could hear was... What is it? And this chap, it's not music, it's just a loud drumming beat like savages do, you know. Have you found that? You know, do you get that?
Yeah, I know
where
exactly.
You are?
Yeah.
Is it a bit, yes.
Yeah, I just thought
Yes.
your comment earlier, Eric, was such. I'd not really thought of it that way. That there's very little happy music made.
Yes.
Everything's dramatic. Everything is that something
Yes.
really intense is about to happen. We're just being so we think it is. Music's incredibly powerful. I mean, it's off the charts powerful as music. It really is.
It is.
No.
A couple of little comments here, though, just backing up. Kingston Whittler went on to say about the Playford stuff, he says, there's a natural vibration to it that warms the heart. You know you are home. Yep, I do. I know exactly what you mean.
I agree.
Absolutely right.
And
And you know what this means, Eric, is that if we do have dancing at the Fockham Hall Festival,
yes.
you're going to have to dance, which of course is going to make your father turn in his grave.
Oh, no.
Right? Sorry about that. And we're going to have to get
Lord.
we're going to have to get a dance master, one of the guys that knows all the steps. They're called callers, I
Yes.
think. Who's going to have to boss us all around and tell us what to do. That's going to be that'd be hilarious. Actually, that'd be such
will.
good fun, wouldn't it?
But do you think
Such a
there's
giggle.
do you think the spirit of my father will come down and say, "Excuse me, is he queer?" No, I don't think he is. He might be queer. I'm not too sure. Excuse me, are you queer? No. He's just trying to dance.
No, he's quite drunk right
Eric
now.
Von Essex, yes,
what
he's
it is.
dancing. Oh, Is he a queer? Well, he
he's-
dances like a queer. He
drunk.
just dances like a
He's
queer.
not queer. He's just had a few.
I'd have to be drunk to dance.
Perhaps
By the way, I like
a few too many.
Mark Anthony said, 72 said, I bought my wife one of those sheepdog bras for her
Yes.
birthday. It's really good. It rounds them up and points them in the right direction.
Oh, gosh. This is a really good pub. I'm coming back to this one. This is a good pub.
Oh, good
But,
Lord.
but really, there is something about. I mean, what makes me laugh is Vera Lynn singing the White Cliff. Was it the bluebirds over the White Cliffs of Dover? There's no bluebirds over White Cliffs of Dover because that song was actually written by an American that had never been to Dover in his life.
You'd think they'd rearrange the lyrics, wouldn't you? I
Yeah.
don't know. There were fat
Well,
birds over. I don't know what they could have called them, really.
Yeah.
I'm going near
Since
there,
the
actually.
beginning of time, since the beginning of time, music has been to connect to earth, to connect to spirit, to connect to God, and to actually resonate with the resonant frequency of the organs. Music is supposed to be an uplifting, a healing, and healthy thing to expose yourself to. And what they did in 1940 was they changed from A432 to A440, and then they started working on the lyrics, and oh my God, then came Ramp. You know, where they're trying to convince us that talking about bitches and blowing a hole in the hose and all that shit is music. No, I don't think so.
Nope.
It's just negative. It's subliminal programming. It's subconscious deterioration of your very, very soul, and that's what we're exposing ourselves to.
I agree
Don't
with
do
you.
it.
But
Yeah.
Alex Gorgeous has said, and I agree here. Well, she said, and I think we're getting close to this. Sorry to be a pain, chaps, but may we please have a few solutions to our current situation? I feel like a sitting duck. Cheers. Well, one of the solutions, I believe, is to try and, I shouldn't say this, but we have a better, shall we say, he who wins the airwaves has won. And
Yes.
our enemy controls the airwaves. We don't. And I think we should control the airwaves. And then we can pump out lovely English music like that, and we can. That is the way forward. Is getting control. It's like a game of chess. We've got to get to the centre of that board and master that centre of the board, and we're not.
And never forget that all politics is local. Get with your friends, get with your neighbors, local communities. Bring yourselves together with such a tight bond that they cannot break you apart, because that is what they are trying to do. They are trying to separate people, because as herd animals, humans can accomplish great things. Unless they're alone in the woods, they are fodder for the foxes.
You're spot on.
Together with your neighbors.
Yeah, well, if we look
No
at
man is an
everything
island.
since 1945, music being a main strand, it's been to bring that about. I mean, we come back to this topic repeatedly, and we will continue to do so because it's important. The family is the pinnacle of civilization. I'm just going to say that because it is. And therefore, the higher the quality of families and more people that are involved in high quality families, either as parents and or as children, the better for us all. And you're right about the airwaves and about writing and about festivals. It's simply, I think, to a great degree, we have to find a way to reassert our culture. I'm so glad that we talked about the English folk music, actually, because I've got about 4 hours of Playford music, which I need to break up into the tracks, and we can start to run them on SOAPBOX in between. That's why we run the old stuff. There's a reason for it, okay? I know that everybody wants the modern stuff, or at least I'm told that, but there's no point even going there. I mean, it's just, it's not good. I've even heard, I I was listening to Jeff Rents earlier today. They were talking about the reception that people are giving to AI music, and they're all finding it lovely because it's scientifically designed now. It's dead, really. It's a dead thing, but it's scientifically designed to sort of work on certain emotion sets and key sets within you. And they know what they're doing. It's like the whole world's going to become an algorithm, and it's frankly not much fun. That's why I think we talk about tactile things here, like candles and old music and clothes, things that connect you into a much healthier way of living.
I agree with you, and I think that I think we reached our peak in music around about 1970s when we had what was called progressive rock. Now, what that was, I mean, well, you look at that record, Marrakesh Express, how clever that is, how they put that together. That was a very clever. And do you remember a group called Focus? Do you remember that, where you got classical music and put it to rock? That's the one.
Bum, bum, bum. Yes.
That's it. Jan Ackerman, who could really really knew how to play the old guitar. Those people, they reached their peak, and then now what we got? Rubbish. I was going to say crap, but I've been rude.
Well, it's just a business, like the movie business is more of a business. That's where you just get all these sequels, and all the films are the same, and all the plots are shallow, and people, in my view, people read things into modern films that are simply not there. It's trite piffle. Most of it is completely rubbish. But I want to just go back to what you said, Paul, about rap music, which, of course, it betrays the heritage of Afro-American music, if that's what I'm supposed to call it. I'm not trying to upset anybody.
Yes,
I'm just,
does.
you know what I'm talking about. It really does. Because there were lots of really, really good stuff, like Louis Jordan and his Timpani 5 or whatever it was called, creating jump music and all sorts of things. But if you look at it, it's a movement towards a more animalization of the dancing process. This was by design as well. It took a long time to lead into it. I'm not blaming it. I'm just pointing it out. But the other a point came up. Who was I listening to the other day? Dellingpole. James Dellingpole was interviewing somebody about something. This was only a small part of the show. It wasn't about this. It was an observation that heavy metal was to white kids what rap music has been to black, and I completely agree with that. I went through a period of I could never ever listen to that stuff. I liked heavy rock where there was a degree of instrumentalization. I'm 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, that kind of age. I thought much of it was fantastic. It was brilliant. It was the soundtrack to my youth, whether I liked it or not. And I liked it, but I didn't like much of it. The stuff I liked, I really liked. Everybody said, listen to this, crap. I hated Black Sabbath, just to let you know. Sorry if you're an Ozzy Osbourne fan. I couldn't stand all that stuff. It's turgid. It's a downer. It is dark. Their name's dark. I thought, what are you doing? Is it all to be cool or something? And everybody started dressing in black. And I'm going, nah, I don't want anything to do with this. It's not exhilarating. And that's what heavy metal music is to me. It is not exhilarating. It's not heavy at all. It's just loud.
Rubbish.
Well, it's just guys with guitars go, look at the size of my amplifier. I'm playing power chords for 4 hours going, yeah, all right, mate, I'll come back. Now, for example, although we don't want to get into, if I take Pink Floyd and you look at the whole array, that's a different kettle of fish. It's a totally different kettle of fish. It's like orchestral music using modern instruments. It's a much richer experience. So you have to finesse with these sorts of things, and musicians are a result of the age that they live in and the technologies of musical instruments that they live in. But what we've seen, I think, just like with smartphones and everything, is the more advanced the technology's got, the less advanced, the more retarded the music has become. It's actually because everybody thinks they can be a musician. Everybody thinks they're equal to everybody else. You're not. I don't even want it. The idea of a handful of brilliant musicians being known is how it should be, isn't it? They're sort of like, they're held up by everybody else. You go, every now and again, exceptional talents turn up, and it's worth everybody to recognise it and appreciate it when it turns up, not to be sort of have this guff pumped into your head 24/7. I mean, I couldn't listen to radio in the 70s and the 80s for music. I mean, I never listened to it. It was just exhausting. I couldn't understand how a DJ, I can't to this day, can sit there and just play record after record after record for 3 hours and do it 5 days a week. Doesn't it drive you mad? I mean,
I know.
You know,
And
music
they
was
think
like
they're
a
so
treat.
marvellous.
Don't you think music was a treat? I'd work.
Yes.
I'd come home. I spent a lot of money on a hi-fi when I was about 18. I mean, it cost me a lot. It cost me all my wage packet, right? I've still got the amp to this day, right? It cost me 220 quid in 1978.
So
when 220 quid was an enormous amount of money. I was only earning £20 a week, right? It was like 4 months' wages. And I've still got it, and it's lasted. It's absolutely brilliant. And I put things on, and all my mates were into this stuff. And I guess it all depends what, you know, that's what we did. That's what we did back then. But we thought it was the coolest thing going. And it was, in a way. It's fantastic. Drinking coffee, playing Risk, listening to records, shouting at one another, playing Pylon. Oh, those are the days. What an old fart I am. But it was great.
Do you remember
really good.
But do you remember Isso Tomita? Now, Isso Tomita was a Japanese bloke who used electronics to do Debussy and classics. And when he actually performed on stage, he had his back to the audience. And he had all these electronic bits all round him, all high-tech stuff. Unfortunately, he's dead now, but he did one, what was it now? His first album was absolutely mind-blowing. He did Debussy, and it was absolutely incredible.
Right.
And, so if you can look him up, anybody wants to look him up on the internet, The Engulfed Cathedral by Isso Tomita. Genius. It really is. It is a marvellous piece that he did. And he's Japanese. And, it's just sad.
It's a difficult topic to talk about because music is. It runs deep with all of us, doesn't it? I think it does, because there's so much emotional attachment that you might have to a piece of music that might not even be that good, but you heard it at just the right time. You know, when that girl came through the door, or you were at that disco that night trying desperately not to dance, or whatever you were doing. There are certain tracks that have a very strong evocative sort of draw on your memory about all these things. But, I mean, I don't know whether we're going to win the hearts and minds of our people back by playing Playford music from the 1600s. Probably not. It's too big a leap in the ear of the day. But it's, you know, it's looking at how we arrange all these sorts of things to actually create a cultural diet, as it were, of this different stuff. And I think that there is definitely a difference. I mean, there's in terms of, you only have to go back a few years, like even to the 80s, and there's a sense of buoyancy, not necessarily about the music, but just in life, and a much simpler thing. And is it the case that the smartphone has got now an awful lot to answer for? Because I think it is literally stupefying people. They're becoming stupefied because of the dopamine hit is so high. Everything else is boring. They don't do anything much. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people are doing loads more because they're able to organise their life. I don't know what you think.
But I don't know about that. But you listen to, for example, Genesis. They brought out an album. What was it now? Was it Selling England by the Pound? I think that's the right one. Fantastic. You listen to it. It's mind-blowing. And you think, wow, I mean, that is a modern English music. That's modern English. And that all went in the 1980s. It reached a peak in the late 70s and just sort of died in the 80s. What happened in the 80s? Something went wrong with our music and it just lost. There is some good 80s music, but modern now, there's nothing. Absolutely nothing I can think of.
The small hat.
Yes.
Small hat wearers took over the music industry.
Yes.
That's what happened in the 70s and the 80s.
Yes.
Music was actually bastardized.
Yes, I agree.
Plain and simple. Yeah.
What do you think of Genesis?
I'm absolutely on board with you.
Do you remember
Genesis? Absolutely. Phil Collins.
Yeah.
I mean, just, you know, Genesis, awesome. Phil Collins, completely off the hook, extremely talented guy. Extremely talented guy. And that was back when music was actually, I mean, there's the difference between the artists today that you have to use auto-tune because without it they couldn't sing their way out of a bag. And the bands of the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, they actually had real talent. They had trained voices. They were good. And the instruments that they played, they were amazing. Musicians, plain and simple. And what we are exposed to today is nothing but a bastardized, automated, auto-tuned piece of crap that before I have even heard stories that before an album is released, they put all of the albums in a room, and then black witches go in there, and they make incantations over the albums before they're distributed.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Curse the music.
Wouldn't surprise me.
No, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
But go back further.
Can you think of someone? Can you think of someone whose music you don't like, but that you know is good?
Yes.
Slim Whitman.
Now you're making me think about Mars Attacks.
My ma loved Slim Whitman. She was. We would actually make a pilgrimage every time Slim Whitman was at a place called Trollhagen. It was a ski area in Wisconsin. We lived in Minnesota. We would actually travel from Minnesota to Wisconsin every time Slim Whitman was appearing at Trollhagen. And Slim Whitman, I mean, he's a good old Southern boy, and he called it Ski Hogan. He's just a funny guy. But my ma absolutely loved him. My ma knew personally Slim Whitman, knew Tammy Wynette, knew Loretta Lynn. She was on first name basis with all of them. And that was when real music occurred.
Well,
and when real music could be heard.
I can't stand Alan Bennett. And when I first started work, you could buy loads of cheap records. You see, I worked in part of London where you get cheap records. And there's a fellow there that I worked with. His parents loved Alan Bennett. But every LP cover had Alan Bennett perspiring. And it was, Alan Bennett perspires in Los Angeles. Alan Bennett, more perspiration in California. And everybody says his hand over the microphone stand. Everyone's the same. I've been perspiring heavily. What was it? Did people go there to see him perspire or something? I mean,
Alan Bennett breaking a sweat in Belize.
Are you sure? Right. I thought Alan Bennett was the Yorkshire playwright.
Gordon Bennett was
not Gordon Bennett. You're thinking of someone else. I don't know who you're thinking of. Are you thinking of that? He's an American crooner, like in the Frank Sinatra mold.
Yeah.
He died recently. It's not Alan Bennett.
That's right.
But that's very funny.
It's not Alan Bennett. Oh, yeah, I'm getting mixed up.
No, it's funny. It's really good. Yeah, no, that's cool. The musician I was thinking of that I don't like, but I think he's good, is Elvis Costello.
Yes.
And I say that because I was never really much into lyrics when I was young, but later on, I looked at this, and somebody that I knew who was into all the lyrical side said he's one of the best lyric writers ever. And I went and read, and they're extremely, how can I put it, dense in terms of compressing loads of ideas into very few lines. There's a lot going on with them. My problem with Elvis Costello is I just felt that his voice couldn't carry emotion. And so it left me slightly cold. Yeah. I know he started off as a punky stuff, and some of that stuff, Pump It Up, is pretty cool if you're into all that kind of stuff from that period. And that was the sort of thing we listened to in the common room in the 1977 or whatever. But I was never really into punk rock either. But Elvis Costello developed into something much more talented than that, which was, mind you, his dad was a big band leader, I think, wasn't he? He used to run a big band in the 40s and 50s. So he had it in his blood.
Actually, Alan Bennett. Hang on. Who was that?
Tony
Bennett. That's the one.
Alice
Tony
Gorgeous.
Bennett?
No, Alan Bennett's going to stick now. This is so funny. Alice Gorgeous said
Tony
Alan
Bennett.
Bennett's mundane hits, because that's how he talks.
That's right. That was Tony Bennett, wasn't it?
Very dry.
Perspiring in Los Angeles. Heavily sweating.
Alan Bennett.
Well, you should change his name by Depot.
Yeah.
Because I can never understand that record. Was it I lost my... because you can imagine we rearranged the words to I lost my heart in San Francisco to... No, I won't say. But a rather a flatulent version. I suppose you used to sing it as well, didn't you?
Probably, yes. But this is a family show, even though we're in the pub
show,
later.
So I go there.
Absolutely. Alice, I was just wondering, by the way, if you have any solutions, if they're brief enough for you to write them down, or anything that you think we ought to talk about, just throw it in there. That goes for everybody, by the way. If you think the things that we ought to jump at and look at, I want to just jump over now to banking. Maybe I should have it at a special time in the show. Oh, it's hour. It's time for 10 minutes of banking, Bilge. I'm slowly getting a little bit more active on X. And somebody put a post. I just wanted to read you a couple of things, because I actually ended up responding to it. So I suppose it's bigging me up or something, but it's not. I just want to just share it, really. Somebody put a post up. It's a very funny clip. You probably remember it, Paul. It's of Johnny Carson laughing his socks off whilst holding a little baby orangutan in his hands. I don't know if you ever remember the clip, because this orangutan's very sweet, but it's looking at him really fixedly, and he gets slightly hysterical. But the headline is, "Banks watching you pay interest on the money they lent you after they printed it out of thin air." Right? It's quite witty, actually. I quite liked it. But the first comment is very useful. From somebody called Garrett Courtney, who's probably not hearing this, but I liked this comment simply because it opened things up. He said, "That's not exactly how that works. This is simplified, but your bank balance is the money the bank owes you. You gave them that money and they loan it to other people. You're paying interest on other people's money that they loan to you, not money that they just made up." Okay. Now, as regular listeners here will know, although Garrett's well-meaning, it's completely wrong what he's written. That's not how it works. So my little response was very simple. I said, when you borrow $10,000, the bank creates it out of thin air. You pay back $10,000 plus interest. Interest is usury, the great bloodsucker, and why the US is $33 trillion in debt. Banking is a criminal enterprise. If your business did what a bank did, you would be imprisoned. And that's accurate apart from one fact, because I heard the news this morning, and Paul, I'm glad to inform you that the US debt is now not $33 trillion, but $37 trillion. How about that? So between it went up $4 trillion this afternoon. Is it meaningless?
I know. No, the money is not made out of thin air. The money is made by securitizing bonds and the birth records of the people. The money that gets made out of thin air is the interest that is charged on that money. You know, like when you buy something, you buy a $10,000 car, you have a promissory note for $10,000 plus what you expect to pay in interest. Well, the economy is actually funded by $10,000 because there's $10,000 worth of bonds created to match that. But the interest that you pay on that note over the life of it, that is money that is made out of thin air. It goes immediately to the national debt. It
does. I mean, I'm sure there are probably even more layers of smoke and mirrors in the whole process. I think I mentioned a few weeks ago, and I've got to look this up, because we've had this fact running around. It is a fact that all the countries of the world are in debt. So the logical question is, who are they all in debt to? They can't be one another if they're all in debt. Right. Of course, the usual answer, rightly, up to a point, is the central bank cartel. Okay. But the next step in that, which I have to explore a bit more, is that that's not strictly true, because I think it's to do with, before they can generate the money in this $10,000 example, before they can do that, the thing that releases it is your signature. In other words, it would seem to me that you create the money unbeknownst to yourself, because you're in a state of not knowingness when you're in there, thinking that the bank's doing it, and the bank are quite happy to let you do it. But what they're basically stepping in and not allowing that thought to even occur in your head, and creating the impression that they've done it. But they can't do it without your signature, which is part of this trust arrangement, or you being worth your weight in gold, or your certificate of lading, or whatever you want to call it, when you were born, through the birth certificate, and then they own you. All of this kind of stuff. It's literally always a case of the servants are deceiving the true master. I don't like using the word master, but you get the time. All the time.
But do you know what's truly despicable? They would like
John
us to
McTurnon.
believe, among others, they would like us to believe that we owe the national debt. No, we don't. The national debt is the portion of that is actually owed to us, the ones that actually created the money in the first place.
Yes, it's just a pity that there's
owed to us.
I know, it's just a pity, Paul, that there's no annual meeting where we get our divvy back. That's never happened, has it? No.
Right? Any other entity would be getting dividends.
Yeah, they would. I mean, irrespective of whatever the full mechanics are, and no doubt they're coming up with more sort of multi-stage confusion points to charge service fees as they talk you through this, that, and the other nonsense. The bottom line is that if a normal businessman did what a bank did, you'd be imprisoned for it. It's as simple as that.
Absolutely.
And they're
Lock
not.
them up, throw it away.
Why are they not in prison?
Throw them in a hole. Throw them in a hole so deep you got to pump sunshine into them. That's where the people would be.
Yep.
That's ridiculous. Boy, I'm glad we don't talk about banking much.
Well, I like to bounce back to it. By the way, of course, it's all completely intertwined with the lure. And after those of you who tuned a couple of weeks ago know that Hannah was on. And I said last week that I was due to go to her meeting on Thursday. Now, I appear with Eric quite regularly now on a Monday evening on Fockham Hall Radio. So if you caught it, I'm going to say this again. But we were due to go to a meeting that Hannah was holding in London on Monday, just past 4 days ago. In the end, I didn't go. And in the end, that was the right thing to do because it didn't take place. Because Hannah didn't speak for all sorts of reasons, which are slightly sort of soap opera-y, and I don't want to go into them all. They're nothing too unpleasant, but there was no real reason for her to be there. And in terms of logistics, I've decided I'm never really ever going to entertain the idea of going to anybody's meeting in London, in Hackney, on a Monday evening ever again, because looking at it, it really was a nightmare. And Eric suitably put me off as he was going through it, and I think Aunt Sally was due to go as well, because I was looking forward to meeting you guys. But we're going to have to do it at the Fockham Festival or the Fockham Festival Planning Committee at some cafe in Neasden or wherever we end up meeting. And so it all turned out for the best. However, over the weekend, she put me in touch with a chap called, I'll just call him Stuart for now, and I may get him on the show. He's an amazing guy. I've spoken to him, and his knowledge is so detailed on court procedure and the true understanding of the words. I spoke to him for 2 hours on Saturday and my head hurt. I said, I've got to stop. I said, I can't.
Lord, we have to have him on the show.
I can't bring it in fast enough. And I wanted to mention this to you because something I think good is going to come out of this. One of the things that happened towards the end of the conversation with him is we got round to talking about a point that we mentioned here. And this, Alice, a gorgeous, sort of comes round to looking at solutions about communications approaches. I think I've mentioned here is the most tedious stuff, isn't it? On my seaside, on my shoreline walks, I'm thinking about communications packages, which is awfully pathetic, really. But seriously, I think it's important. We're doing a 3-hour pub meeting here tonight. This is why it's moving around a bit. There's nothing really planned, you can probably tell. Spontaneity is the key word. That's what we want. We're going to tap into sensible things. We're going to goof off for 15, 20 minutes as well. That's fine. It's a bit like a pub chat. We'll keep it like this until people complain or nobody turns up and says we've had enough. I mean, everything has its day. However, if I look back at, if you consider how most people learn about these hidden blocks of information, it's through reading books. Generally, it's your best bet, and you have to read quite a few to relate them and check things, and you go, and slowly but surely you begin to see a pattern. And of course the internet has aided us immeasurably in that process. In fact, most of us got drawn into this because suddenly there were really quirky, odd and puzzling books being announced in certain places. You go, I must have a look at that. What's that all about? And it draws people in, which has been absolutely fantastic. The sort of everything that was hidden will be revealed type process as mentioned in scripture. And I think this is definitely a key part of it. But most people do not sit down and read long books. Now, if I've just offended you, write in and say, Paul, we all read long books. I might be misreading it wrong, but I don't think they do. right? I mean, I don't think people are going to read Stephen Zarlanger's The Lost Science of Money at 900 pages or whatever it is. They're not going to do that. And when I say most people, I mean just average, very busy, pressurized working people. And I'm not trying to be patronizing, because those people are people that I value a great deal. It's this process of standing together. Anyway, whilst I was talking to Stuart, this sort of came up towards the end, and we've mentioned it here, haven't we? That you go to school and they don't teach you anything at all about the true operations of law. They certainly don't tell you what your status in law is. They wouldn't even know how to begin that as a class. And they don't teach you anything about central banking, how credit works, and how you are basically going to be a plaything of the banking cartel for the rest of your life. They don't tell you any of that. And just standing back from this alone and looking at that, you go, that it's not just bizarre, it's obviously in a way criminal to suggest that when people leave school at the age of 18, they know much of any real use. They know how to be an obedient slave or employee in this system. I don't care how many degrees you've got. The problem with nearly everybody's got degrees, they don't know this stuff. And this is the foundational stuff of your life. You're going to spend more time fretting over bills and how to meet them, particularly now as they're pumping them through the roof. I just got my water bill through the other day, 350 quid. It's a joke. I'm going, oh yeah, I've got that floating around somewhere. 350 quid for 3 months' water. I mean, it's just nuts. That's like $450, Paul, just to let you know, for water. It's just for water, right? So
for water.
Yeah, just for water. Yeah, and I don't even drink their bloody water. I use a water distiller and all this kind of stuff. Everything's nuts.
Rainwater collection. Rainwater collection. Absolutely.
Yeah, so, I mean, and in talking to Stuart, towards the end of our conversation, I said, well, we've got to, because we were going through so many words, and I'm going, okay, I'm going to have to do a copy briefing. This is what I said to myself. So I used to be a copywriter. I sit down with a client. You go, right, okay, I've got a pencil and pad. We're going to sit here for an hour. I'm going to pick your brains, and I'd have a whole series of questions to go through to find out what they were doing so that I could actually write something that made sense to him, right? So they go, yeah, that's what our customers need to know. Fantastic, because, you've got to get everything out of their head. This is the ultimate test, I think, with this law stuff. It really is, because the words are so, there's just a blizzard of them. Anyway, towards the end of the call, I get to my point, I mentioned this thing about, I said, what we really need to be doing, we need to be writing very brief, crisp, clear, joyous, I mean this, happy documents. It's a happy document, right? That everybody can read quick and get it. They can grok the meat of it fast. And then there needs to be a second stage and even a third for those that really, and there will be a small percentage that will want to tunnel into it to the nth degree. Fantastic. It might not be your bag of tricks, but you should be really glad that it's going to be somebody's amongst our tribe, because it will be. We've always produced that. So this is really good. And I said this to him about 16-year-olds. He said, if you gave me some 16-year-olds in 2 weeks, he said, I could have them crystal clear and they would know exactly what to do every single time in a court. I said, you've just outlined the copy brief. That's exactly what we have to do. We have to put material together for 16-year-olds. Whatever you might think a 16-year-old is, I suppose it's a boy, a young man and a young woman right now looking at their phone. Oh, they can vote now, apparently, through their phone, probably, instantaneously, for people that don't know anything about anything, but never mind. Anyway, I wrote down a list of words. This is going to be a bit tedious, but I just wanted to, this is not even anywhere near a complete list. This just came out of my conversation with Stuart the other day, for which I thanked him, and thank you now, Stuart, if you're hearing this. Let me just run through them and see how many you know. You might think you know them, because I think I sort of know them, but I need them absolutely crystal clear in my head. So there's jurisdiction. We're not going to try and answer any of these, right? I just want to run through the list. There's jurisdiction. There's jurisprudence, trusts, trustee, beneficiary, true primary executor, secured party creditor, the crown, a crown agent, living man, living woman, legal person, natural person, legalese, legal entities, private, public, commerce, nature, standing, court, barrister, assumption, presumption, and statutes. That's just for starters. So I think we need a little book. I don't know what you think. Chairman Mao had his little red book. I was thinking the little yellow book of law, because it's almost a tongue twister, like red lorry, yellow lorry. We need a little yellow book. I need it. I personally need it. Because in going through these things, I think it's possible to teach this stuff. And the way I personally I've got to teach myself it. We should be able to talk about this stuff easy peasy, like people could talk about football scores. It's a little bit more challenging than that, I accept. But we've got to get to that point because its strength is on keeping people in this condition of being in the dark about what they're really saying. And he also mentioned, I'll stop in a second. One last thing to just mention from our conversation the other day. He said, if you ever get pulled over, or a constable, or a police officer, or whatever the title is, and we need to know what that is, one of the questions that I said, there's only really one question you have to say to them, is, could you tell me what is the nature of your action? Could you tell me what is the nature of your action? And the reason why that question, as I understand it at the moment, I might get this wrong, why that question is so powerful is that the true nature of their action, which they can't tell you, is that they are acting in commerce. This is basically a money shakedown. That's what it is. And they can't admit that. So they won't admit it. And if they don't admit it, or they don't respond to it properly, they put themselves in a position of dishonor. And one other little point he mentioned, which was really cool. You know, we've talked about foul language everywhere and the rise of it. And of course, we drop a few here every now and again because we're in the pub, right? But one of the things that Stuart was suggesting was that there's been an intentional promotion of foul language through culture. Because when you use it, you go into a position of dishonor. And apparently, I'm just using that word, it's apparent to my mind, I don't know for certain right now at this moment in time, is the first person of the two parties to go into dishonor loses. You don't go into dishonor. And it's just these little threads and thoughts. If this has bamboozled you a bit, just because it bamboozles me reading it out again, but I was taking copious notes. He even sent me a 17-minute voicemail message yesterday. It was brilliant, Stuart, by the way, if you're listening. It was absolutely brilliant. And with all these ideas about how we actually put this material together to get it to project out to a much larger audience. I don't know if that's what you're thinking of, Alice Gorgeous, but that's the sort of solutions that or work line that I'm thinking about at this moment in time. So
I cannot wait to hear that show. I just cannot wait to hear that show because every single one of those words is a hot button that I've been living and breathing for the last 3 years.
Yep.
Every single one of those words. People don't know the definitions of those words. And I mean, come on, we have enough confusion because they change the definitions of words like on a periodic basis. So when you think of the word, a word and what it means, it may mean that day, but it may not mean that 9 months later. And guess what? They're using the new definition. You are still using the old one. When they're talking about resident, you think your residence is where you live. It's your address. That's where you lay your head down. No. When they ask you if you're a resident, they're asking you if you are part of their political status. They're asking you if you are agreeing to be judged by residents under, like, say, the District of Columbia, D.C. It's not even part of the United States. I live in New York. When they say, are you a resident of the state of New York? Number one, state of New York is a political subdivision of Washington, D.C. There's one. And number two, they're asking me if you're a resident. They're asking me if I'm a resident of D.C. and under the jurisdiction and thumb of federal law. I'm not.
I know. It's for you and me and everyone to look. By the way, if you're out there listening to this and you think it's boring and tedious, let us know. Because it might be. Sometimes what happens, I think there's a little line where people go over it. You get so into it, you can't see that everybody else has fallen asleep. It's really difficult on radio to know that. What they're droning on about. That used to be my response. There's still a great part of me doing that. But however, we're coming to the end of the hour, so I want to sign off from WBN. Thanks everybody on WBN 324. We'll be back again same time next week. I'm also on with Ria Bow this Sunday in the final hour. That's 2 till 3 UK time, whatever it is in US time, 9 till 10 on Sunday. We'll see you then. I'm going to play a Monty Python song, which is all about happiness, which you will all know. So we're going to play it. And we'll be back after this on the other side. You want to join us, head on over to paulenglishlive.com where the show will carry on. See you after this happy little song.
Excellent.
Some things in life are bad, they can really make you mad. Other things just make you swear and curse. When you're chewing on life's gristle, don't grumble, give a whistle. And this'll help things turn out for the best. And always look on the bright side of life. Always look on the light side of life. If life seems jolly rotten, there's something you've forgotten, and that's to laugh and smile and dance and sing. When you're feeling in the dumps, don't be silly chumps. Just purse your lips and whistle, that's the thing. Hey, always look on the bright side of life. Come on. Always look on the right side of life. For life is quite absurd, and death's the final word. You must always face the curtain with a bow. Forget about your scene, give the audience a grin. Enjoy it, it's your last chance anyhow. So always look on the bright side of death. Just before you draw your terminal breath. Life's a piece of shit when you look at it. Life's a laugh and death's a joke, it's true. You'll see it's all a show, keep 'em laughing as you go. Just remember that the last laugh is on you. And always look on the bright side of life. Always look on the right side of life. Come on, Brian, cheer up. Always look on the right side of life. Always look on the right side of life. Worst things happen at sea, you know. Always look on the right side. I mean, what you got to lose? You know, you come from nothing, you're going back to nothing. What you lost? Nothing. Look on the right side of life. Nothing will come from nothing, you know what I say? Cheer up, you old bugger. Come on, give us a quiz. There you are. See? It's the end of the film. Incidentally, this record's available in the foyer. Some of us got to live as well, you know. Alright, it's a lot. Let's get this place up there. Change this mantle within 3 weeks. You think pays for all this rubbish? Never made the money back, you know. I told him. I said to Bernie, I said, they'll never make that money back.
Ah, does that make you happy and tap your feet and want to look on the bright side of life? It does me. What about that, Eric?
Outstanding.
Yeah. It's good, wasn't it?
Top
and
blokes.
that was the because they usually go beep. They bleep a lot of that out, but you got the one that isn't bleeped out, which is good.
Well, we're in the pub,
so
we don't need any more
right.
bleeping when we're in the pub. You know.
No, we don't
do
need bleeps.
What would have been bleeped in that song? I don't get it.
Life is a load of shit. Life is a load of
piece of shit.
Well,
yeah.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Oh no, we can't say anything over here now. I haven't even looked into all the restrictions that are coming in, supposedly. And of course, when we resist them, we promote them even further. We sort of, all our energy goes into going, look at what they're doing, look at what they're doing. We're telling everybody what they're doing. We actually act as a sort of megaphone for the whole nonsense. It's very difficult. I still think the approach, I've mentioned this before with regards to these sorts of things, for example, with effectively thought crime coming in, let's just go there. What we need to do, again, this is not one solution, but it's an attitude more than anything else, although it would be great to see it manifest in actuality, is we need to get a goodly number of us. I would say, 1 million should do it. Well, they had a 1 million man march somewhere, didn't they? So why can't we do that? And what we have to do is organise to all go to the police stations around the country on the same day at the same time and arrest ourselves for thought crime. Say that we've been committing thought crime. Yeah, we don't know exactly what it is, but I'm reasonably sure I've been thinking things that you don't like, and I think I need to be locked up. And there's 50,000 more people at the front door. They're coming in to do the same thing. So you better get us all locked up. I want them locked up, and they want me locked up, because we're all committing thought crime. And we think you should probably lock yourself up as well, sir, Mr. Desk Sergeant, because you've probably been committing it as well. So let's all just incarcerate ourselves. That'd do it, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Or am I being flippant and silly?
I don't know if that would... I don't know if that would be of benefit, because at least in the United States, the prisons are all privatized, and they actually securitize your incarceration, and they make money on the fact that you broke one of their statutes, their acts or codes, and you got locked up for a victimless crime. That was a code violation. They actually make money on the fact that you're sitting there. And they put you to work like in the private sector, and they pay you 50 cents on the dollar or 50 cents an hour to do something that another company would have to pay $15 to $18 an hour to actually hire people to do it. It's a win-win for the prison system.
Mm-hmm.
It's a win-win. They make a shit ton of money. Yeah, exactly. It is involuntary servitude under the that's actually justified by the 13th Amendment. And they do this all the while they are actually feeding the prisoners meat where the actual boxes are stamped not for human consumption. Hello, why are you feeding it to people? Why? Because they can.
Why indeed?
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely horrible. And the prison system in the United States and around the world needs to be completely revamped. It needs to be taken apart, limb from limb, piece by piece, and rebuilt to something that actually focuses on, first of all, only crimes against humanity, or only lawful crimes where there is an actual victim, where there's actually harm or injury. Those are the crimes. The victimless crimes, screw you guys. Go.
Well, the real crime is the so-called criminal justice system. That's a crime. It's actually criminal. It is a criminal justice system, but not in the way that they intend you to understand it. I mean, the thing I like, although I am deluded, and you have to forget my sort of wishful thinking, but the idea of large numbers of people doing something like that, first of all, it's peaceful. It's harmful. It is a kind of wonderfully ironic joke. And therefore, it would appeal across a broad base, possibly, although some people might say, that's not what we want to do. We want to do a punch-up. We don't want to do that. We don't want to go into violence or dishonor at all. If we can hold that ground, you know, I've often thought about this, is that they come up with a regulation. What you do is you say, that's not strong enough, and you push it even harder so that it destroys everything. It's the speed. One of the great weapons they have is that they introduce things very slowly and create residual apathy. They're continually pumping into your head these ridiculous things which they then don't do anything about. They'll come back in a year, see if you've softened up, see if you're bored, see if you've lost interest, see if you've watched your phone enough, whatever they're doing, right? And then they'll slowly creep in and you go, I can't be bothered anymore. And that's the point where we just yield another part of being able to live our lives decently and honourably without the interfering class getting a greater hold on our day-to-day living, which is what this is all about. This whole thing about you will eat the bugs and be happy, you will not own anything and you'll be happy. There's not enough of a sufficient rebuttal. Certainly you don't hear it from the news services. There should be some outraged pundits going, who is this bald-headed twat, right, out in Switzerland talking crap? Because that's how it needs to be addressed. Get him in the pub here, we'll sort that lad out. He needs sorting out, you see, but we can't get to him. They live in this space and they keep pumping out this puke, and they do it very slowly, and it's very effective, unfortunately. It's part of it.
Well, the bald-headed twat is actually, he's actually a historian, because he is talking about what's already happened. Because under a feudal system, I mean, the government has monetized people. They've monetized the birth certificates and your actual future labor. It comes from the feudal system. It comes from the Babylonian merchant code. And what he's talking about, you will own nothing and you will be happy. Well, hello, you own nothing already. When you register your motor vehicle with the Department of Motor Vehicles, you actually turn ownership of that vehicle over to the state and agree say that anytime you operate it, you will be engaged in commerce and therefore are under the scope and authority and jurisdiction of the Department of Motor Vehicles and the Motor Vehicle Code. That's
So
something
what you just
did.
said, Paul, what you just said, right? That's a great example of what we have to break down into little chunks, right? Because you know what you're talking about, and I kind of do. But it's got to be broken down so simply. It's almost, forget even 16. Can you teach it to an 8-year-old? I'm serious. I'm deadly serious about this. It's the most important thing. Little building blocks. Because if you think about most people's emotional relationship to the law, it's one of anxiety. And they're right to be anxious about it, right? They don't want, we talk about it, we don't want the knock on the door. They'll come and get you, all this kind of stuff. Who are they? Why are you anxious? You're anxious about it, naturally, because you know nothing about it. You understand, at least, that they have got all the cards in their hand. They're going to play a game that you don't even know the rules of, and they're likely, therefore, to win. And in 99 times out of 100 cases, that's exactly what happens. So if we can... well, I'm saying I'm going to be doing this, or at least I've got drawn into doing this. It all comes out of looking at the flags. It's this simplification of a very complex process so that normal people can go, look, I know what jurisdiction means and you ain't got it, mate. And all of these things that just need to be put in place so that people can get connected with the honourable operations of lawful living. And this thing about living in the private and living in the public, I don't fully understand this. What you're just saying there about cars and commerce is in the public, but you, the flesh and blood man, are in the private. Now, even that sentence alone is a challenge to the mind. Because everybody thinks we're just in it together dealing with this stuff. And if we could just get a new government in, it'll all work out. Well, it can't ever work out. Because the entire operating system, the code for the operating system, basically views you as a virus in it. That's basically what it does. We don't want to be in that operating system. But the problem
is, the difference between the public and the private with respect to an automobile is by contract, is because when you sign that DMV motor vehicle registration application, you're agreeing to an adhesion contract that they did not disclose to you. You're agreeing to a whole bunch of crap that they never told you would have to agree to. So when that cop pulls you over on the side of the road, he's already got your consent. He's already got your contract. He's already got your agreement to do whatever he wants to you.
Well, I think that would be a really good story to go into, because driving offences are ubiquitous. Everybody's had them for all sorts of things. Mm-hmm. And it's not to go, I think, into an adversarial position with the other side. It's to get really clear about what you would say. As I said, I'm just repeating what Stuart mentioned to me the other day. What is the nature of your action? Well, it's in commerce. And so this thing about, and I know this is Roger's work, about getting your status correct so that you're not in commerce or whatever the situation demands at that time, so that you retain honour. You don't go into dishonor, and if they don't answer your questions, they are going into it. And I think it's going to be fascinating, but I want to talk to Stuart a few more times to see if we can pare it down almost like into little chunks. I'm serious, because if you've seen a lot of this free man on the land stuff as well, it's very long.
Yeah, that's bunk.
And people get lost in the whole thing, you know. They all get lost in it.
But they completely ignore it. They completely ignore it because there is no statute, act, or code that recognizes the sovereignty of a free man on the land. There is, however, federal statutes that recognize a national of the United States of America. It is a political status that is recognized by them. But just getting back to the DMV and the motor vehicle, do you know how they get you in interstate commerce? Because the only thing they can regulate is commerce, interstate commerce. Well, if you are a 14th Amendment citizen, that means that you are a citizen of the District of Columbia and the federal United States government. Now, if you are operating a motor vehicle that is registered by the DMV, you are engaging in interstate commerce just by going down the road to get a loaf of bread, because you are property of the federal government, and you are operating a vehicle and transporting yourself as someone else's property. And that is how the state gets you in interstate commerce.
Isn't this going to be fun, putting this into little cartoons? Oh.
Yeah, little bitty snippets.
Hey, everybody.
Snippets.
Oh, hi,
Hey.
Patrick. I was just about to introduce you. Welcome to the show, everybody. Patrick is here. Hi, Patrick. How are you doing?
Happy days are here again.
Not too bad. Yeah. No, I was listening to y'all. It was pretty good. I think that I don't know what to think about what you were talking about. You're talking about pilots getting eaten. What was that all about?
Yeah, we were talking about eating. We were talking about, that was in hour one, I think. We were talking about the Argentinian rugby team that crashed into the Andes in 1970 something or other. And
72.
Yeah, that's when it was. And they were stranded there for 10 weeks, 70 days in sub-zero temperatures, and they ran out of food. And so the pilot, they ate some of the pilot to keep themselves alive. And out of the party of 45, about 25 succumbed to the conditions, and 19 or 20 of them survived and got out.
And then Paul was talking about the Donner Party.
Yes,
that's right.
Don't you remember The Shining? Where Jack Nicholson looks at his wife and child and talks about the Donner Party getting lost up in Colorado. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
But did they have
Donner
driving
Party.
licenses? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Yes, they did.
for the
Donner
covered
Party.
wagons.
Yeah. Okay. The Donner Party was a group of American pioneers who became snowbound in the Sierra Nevada mountains during the winter of 1846 to 1847. While traveling to California, their harrowing experience, marked by starvation and ultimately cannibalism, has become a cautionary tale in American history. Yep.
Right.
I just wonder how much of that is going on in Gaza right now.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Out of
You
the
think
87
about it.
people, out of the 87 people who began the journey from Illinois to California, 40 died during the winter because they got a late start, and as soon as they hit that mountain pass, the storms came and they were snowed in. They started by eating their animals, and then they ate the animal hides, and then they ate whatever was left. And I'm not going to go into that any further. I
Yeah,
think you know
well,
where I'm going.
it's kind of like the early American savages here, when we had, in America. I'm reading a book at the moment about the first Catholic martyr in North America, and it was a Jesuit priest from France who came and lived near Montreal, and then went down south into like Lake George and Lake Champlain, New York area, and got captured by a Huron. He went amongst the Huron Indians and then the Mohawk, Iroquois. They were all Algonquin type Indians. But what they used to do with the prisoners of war was they would torture them. They'd cut their fingers off and make them eat their fingers, and then they would just like brutalize them, cut them, and then roast them over fires, like drag them over fires, and then eat them. And that was their way of getting revenge with people. Yeah, well, you think like, we have powwows where they do the Indian drumming. That's to block out the screams of the people that they were torturing.
I am so glad the third hour of this show is turned to such a delightful topic.
Well, it's also like
that's the noble
Moloch.
savage for you. Yeah, marvelous.
Dinner time. So toasting grandma would be a totally different sort of
Literally.
meaning. Yes,
Literally
yes,
toasting grandma.
yes.
Except
Totally
they
nice
wouldn't.
people.
They wouldn't do that to women and children, even though the women and children would take part in the torturing of people, and that was part of
good Lord.
the whole thing. Yeah, the women and children were brutal. They would go in and tear people's limbs off, and it's nuts. Pour hot coals on them.
That must
Well, don't
be
you
the
remember
very
that? Do you remember
basis
that little
for-
story I told about
Yeah.
1600
name?
odd at Jamestown,
Yeah.
where they arrived
Went out
very
to meet the
quickly.
boat.
They'd been 3.5 months traveling across the Atlantic. They're pulling in. They're overjoyed to get to dry land. As they're coming down the tributary or whatever it's like, there's a canoe comes out of one side with these squaws and children in it, with a look of terror on their face, paddling like mad. And then about 30 seconds later, there's these white guys going even quicker. And they all get completely anxious. The chase runs across the front of the boat, the prow goes right across. They all then switch to the other side and look at it. At which point the white guys catch up with the squaws and the children. They kill them all. They drown them in the water. Much to the absolute disgust of all the passengers that had arrived. But when they got to the quayside, the captain goes up and wants to remonstrate with the leader of this canoe gang, as it were, who's with the harbour master, and he explains to him what happened, which is exactly what you're talking about. They'd found one of their party who had been tortured, had his skin pulled off, and he was still alive. They peeled his skin off down to his eyes, and they just went crazy. And, noble savages, everybody. Don't worry, we're all the same. And we're all going to get on.
Well, that's just it, though. The Jesuits came in, and what they would do is they would baptize them and catechize them and civilize them, and they were receptive eventually. They had to deal with a lot of the savagery throughout time, of course, but gradually that went away as time went on, and they abandoned it. I mean, they don't do it to this day. They still keep their traditions and the ones that are fairly harmless and innocuous.
Yeah.
But that's the way they used to be. And it's not like it was anything new either, because you look in the Bible about Moloch, and it talks about how the Israelites would stray and start worshiping Moloch, sacrificing their children.
Yep.
And it was the same type of thing. They would sit and they'd drum really heavy because you'd have to hear the children cry. And in order to drown that out, that's why they'd have those big drums to drown it out, so the father wouldn't get all riled up.
Yep.
With those children.
Yeah. No, it's all bad stuff.
Richard Harris film, was it A Man Called Horse? What a load of old rubbish. Because I noticed what they're doing now. They're kind of making it look as if the Indians were such nice people, all full of love and peace. And if you go to a place called Glastonbury in England, they've got all these, dream catchers, and it looks like someone's just shot a pigeon and just sort of plucked it and shoved a load of feathers.
Yeah, it looks like a spider web type thing.
That's right,
wampum.
And they sell them to the gullible people for lots of money. They have gong baths and things like that, which I got invited to once, and I've never been so bored in my life.
Can't Fockham Hall do a sort of counterpoint to that? The Fockham Hall gong bath.
Gong bath? Is that like a sweat lodge?
A clash of cultures. This would be cool. I'd quite enjoy that. That'd be a lot of fun.
Well, it was in a dark room.
You could do the Fockham Hall fart catcher, Eric. That's what you want. There we go. That hit a nerve. That's what you want.
But it's all this piffle. It's all this bullshit. It's like, what was that one about wolves that they had? What was that? Oh,
Dances with Wolves.
Dancing with Wolves. If that man had walked anywhere near the Indian camp, he'd be dead. That's it. Full stop, end of. Walks in and makes peace with them. What a load of old cobblers.
I think the Revenant, which was out recently, is a little bit more true to life. Really. I think it's probably a little bit more. And if we're talking about really great westerns, even though there aren't any Indians, there might be a few Indians in this. I don't know. There's two things that spring to mind. One is a fantastic TV series called Lonesome Dove, which starred Robert Duvall and Tommy Lee Jones. American series in the 80s. It's absolutely brilliant. It's one of the best things Robert Duvall's ever been in. But if you find a copy, you've got to get used to the fact that the picture's square because it's before the broad beam TVs came out. Yeah,
the Academy aperture.
Yeah, it's 4x3 or something like that, or whatever it is, but it's absolutely brilliant. It's very long, and it's about a Texas cattle ranch that's suffering from drought for 2 years, and they're losing. So they decide to take them 3,000 miles up to wherever it is. a long way. I can't remember exactly which state they're going to, but from Texas, it's all going to be a long way if they're headed north. And it's their what they live through together, and it's a fantastic story. It's just a great story. It happens to be about cowboys, but it's a wonderful story, absolutely brilliant. And the other one I would mention, the other cowboy thing that leaps out recently is The Adventures of Buster Scruggs by the Coen brothers. I don't know if you've seen that. Have you seen it?
I've seen bits of it. It's a load of old cobblers, but it's funny.
Oh, well, it is, but there's one of them. Yeah, the first one, the opening one, is meant to be a pastiche in a way, and it's very witty and funny, and I liked it a lot. But it's basically 4 short stories. There's one in there about a cattle trail that's quite brilliant. And they confront Indians in a way that's so spare, you feel as though it's like there's no music, there's nothing, there's just a guy with a rifle, and there's about 15 guys, Indians on horses, coming at him, and he's trying to protect a woman. It's wonderful storytelling. It's really excellent stuff, and you really get a feel for what it was like. Yeah, but it's just the way it's all coordinated. It's like I'm going, like someone goes, I'm just going over this hill. You're going, where's he gone? It's like only 2 minutes. They get killed because it's all quiet. You can't hear anything. I'm going, people's guards down. They think that it's all cozy, and it's not, and they don't hear stuff. And I'm thinking, wow, it just feels much more like I think it would have been. Well, there you go. I know we got onto cowboys, but why
he's
not?
quite educated, isn't he, Buster Scruggs? And he's very cool and laid back. The sort of
he's great.
But he acts the part.
Yeah,
he did half act the part well. I don't know who is the actor in that. I don't know, but I haven't seen him before. But he's a very good actor, whoever it is.
Yeah,
he's an English bloke. He sounds a bit English.
No, he's not. No, he was also in Brother, Where Art Thou, which is also a pretty wonderful film by them, which I quite like. They're pretty good. Yeah, even though they, of course, take the Mickey out of the Ku Klux Klan. The Ballad, sorry, that's right. It's the Ballad of Buster Scruggs. That's right.
If you want to see close to what it was like, you need to see, and I know the Americans don't know of this film, brilliant, is Carry On Cowboy.
Yeah. I saw bits of that.
Filmed, I think, just outside London. It's supposed to be the Wild West. It was someone. There was a bloke that was sent to clean up Stodge City, and he goes there, and they don't realise he's a sanitary engineer, not a sheriff. He's going there to clean it up. But no, I mean.
By the way, if anybody wants to call in, I know I say this, and I'll just keep saying it. If you want to call in and you're on the internet and want to come in that way, go to paulenglishlive.com/call. paulenglishlive.com/CALL. That'll bring you through to a little sort of anteroom, a little secondary studio that we have for taking calls. Or you can call the phone number, and the phone number is running on the screen right now. So there's a US number and a UK number. If you want to call phone numbers, it's running on the screen. So I won't read it all out. It's a bit dull, but I'm just letting you know we're here for another 35 minutes or so. And if you've got any comments or you want to just bend the conversation a particular way, we're quite open to that. You're in the pub, so you can chip in and have your 10 pence.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Aunt Sally's just said, Fockham Hall fart catcher.
Yeah.
When my children were young, they used to fart into, what charming children, into sandwich bags, tie them up quick, and then burst them into each other's face.
Who taught them that, Aunt Sally? Who taught them that?
Yes. What? Hello, children. Probably at school. Do they go to a progressive school? Today we're going to learn how to fart into a bag. Are you ready, children?
Sir, my mum's told me how to do this. Can I show the rest of the class? Yeah. What's going on?
Well, at least they're not teaching them to pull people's fingernails out and that kind of stuff.
Yes, it's a little bit more amusing, frankly. It is. A little bit.
Joyce Grenfell, I think, is the best school teacher. And when she said, today, children, we're going to all be pretty flowers. No, Tommy, you can't be a cauliflower. But, yes, Joyce Grenfell, I guess you've never heard of Over the Pond. I guess you've never heard of Joyce Grenfell.
No, who's she?
She was in the 1950s, and she stuck in the 1950s. She lived until, I don't know, about 40 years ago. But she was a woman that used to do sort of one-woman talks, and she's very, very funny. She's very funny, but very 50s humour. That was a era sort of thing.
Very posh British lady. She came across this slightly eccentric. she created a sort of stage persona for herself that was very gentle, sort of witty observations about people's odd and queer behaviour and stuff. It's very much like the sort of lady that would have gone round to the vicarage for more scones and tea, vicar. More tea, vicar? That kind of thing. And it's very polite, and she's, and all that kind of stuff. It probably wouldn't travel across the Atlantic that well. I think it's the sort of England we want to get back, Eric, isn't it?
Well, the one that on the BBC, which is a very, very famous one, they used to have a vicar. I think you've heard this one before, Paul. They used to have a vicar and some elderly ladies on there doing a posh gardening programme. And they used to be very, very, very sort of posh. And before they went on air, the vicar had actually impaled his finger onto a rose thorn. And this is the exact words. I think you know what's coming. And she said, hello, vicar. I said, hello. How's your prick thing, vicar? Oh, it's still throbbing. And the working class people, the posh people, didn't see anything funny in it. Working class were off their seat with laughter. And that was on the BBC. It's all frightfully posh, And that actually went on air, live on air.
That sounds like the sort of joke that the cheeky chappie would have told, isn't it?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Max Miller. That sounds like a Max Miller type joke.
Here's a funny story. Hey, missus, there's a man in a nude. Can you imagine that, lady? Can you imagine that? That was his patter, wasn't it? And did you know that Max Miller told... he gave... who's the chap now? There was a famous comedian. He died not long ago. He gave him a masterclass on how to do comedy. And it was Bob Monkhouse. Bob Monkhouse was rubbish when he started. And Max Miller was watching him in the wings. And afterward, he came off the stage, and hardly anybody clapped. He gave him a half-an-hour masterclass on how to do comedy. And he said, don't hit the punchline. Let the people's imagination hit the punchline. And it's because he never did hit the punchline. And he used to move on to another one. He said, came home last night as a man in a nude in my house. Can you imagine that, lady? Can you imagine that? I said to the wife, what's he doing here? She said, he's a nudist. He's come to make a telephone call. It's not very good fun. It's an old one, but...
And to think I actually had a joke earlier tonight, and I self-censored because I didn't think we were going there.
Because you're polite and you're a man of honour. That's why, Paul. You've got good manners, and this is what we like.
But
we like good
I
manners.
like the gunpowder one.
Yeah.
That's a brilliant one, the gunpowder one. Sorry.
I can probably tame this down a little bit. There's a man, a husband and wife. They're talking. It's about breakfast time, and the wife is saying, "Would you like some eggs, some bacon and eggs, maybe perhaps some pancakes and sausages and coffee, something like that?" And the man says, "Well, you know what? It's this Viagra. It's just interfering with my hunger. I really have no interest in eating." She says, all right. So then it comes to lunchtime, and she says, well, would you like soup and a sandwich? It's about lunchtime. I could make you a soup and a sandwich or perhaps whatever else you would want. And he said, well, I'm really not that hungry. I'm really not in the mood to eat anything. It's this Viagra. It's just interfering with my hunger, with my appetite. And then it gets a long dinner, and she says, darling, how would you like a nice, thick ribeye steak, maybe perhaps a potato, a nice cold beer, something like that. Wouldn't you like something for dinner? And he says, well, I'm really, this Viagra, it's really taken my appetite completely away. And to this she says, well, would you do me a favor, love? Would you get off of me? Because I'm bloody starving.
Nearly last orders at the bar. Can I mentioned I'm going to just completely skew you for 5 minutes because I want to get this in. I mentioned I was going to I had something ancient to mention it from the Council of York in 1311. I bet you're all keen to guess. But this is just me hopping. I just want you to know how they dealt with usurers back in York although it was the whole of England in 1311. Now, this is not too long, but it gives you an indication of the clarity that they had that we've lost about how to deal with this. It says, if anyone falls into the error of believing and affirming that it is not a sin to practice usury, we decree that he be punished as a heretic. And the body of the message goes as follows. It says, reliable sources inform us that certain communities, in violation of the law, both human and divine, approve the practice of usury. By their statutes, confirmed by oath, they not only permit the exaction and payment of usury, but deliberately compel debtors to pay it. They also try, by heavy statutory penalties and various other means and threats, to prevent recovery by individuals who demand repayment of interest. For our part, we want to put an end to these abuses, and so we decree, with the approval of the council, that all civil officials of these communities, that is, magistrates, rulers, consuls, judges, lawyers, and other similar officials, who in future make, write, or draw up statutes of this kind, or knowingly decide that usury may be paid, or in case of it having been paid, may not be freely and fully restored when its return is demanded, incur the sentence of excommunication. They shall incur the same sentence if they do not within 3 months remove such statutes from the books of those communities, if they have the power to do so, or if they presume in any way to observe the said statutes or customs to the same effect. Moreover, since moneylenders frequently conclude loan contracts in an occult or fraudulent manner, which makes it difficult to convict them on a charge of usury, we decree that they should be forced by ecclesiastical censure to produce their books on such occasions. Finally, if anyone falls into the error of believing and affirming that it is not a sin to practice usury, we decree that he be punished as a heretic, and we strictly command the ordinaries of the localities and the inquisitors to proceed against those suspected of such errors in the same way as they would proceed against those accused publicly or suspected of heresy. That's from the Council of York in 1311, and it was during the reign of Edward II. I just thought you all ought to know. There's your history lesson.
It gets to be too much to handle, though, later on with the church. Every contract ends up going to the church for a judgment. That's the problem with it.
Yeah.
That they later came up with. There's an encyclical that came out called Vix Pervenit that talks about usury and how it just got totally out of control. And it was I think in the 1700s that came out.
Like now, but it's like now. But good old Longshanks sorted it out, didn't he? Because he booted all the usurers out.
For a while.
And we did for 300 years until Cromwell reintroduced them. Nice man, I don't think.
Well, it wouldn't have been just them. I think, obviously, it seems to be a certain sort of mercantile class leans towards it, although, of course, it became... the kings over here basically augmented it because they became reliant upon the revenues that they would be able to extract from the Jewish moneylenders that they gave the power to. So the king was basically up to his neck in it as well. It was a terrible sort of good cop, bad cop thing. And he was using the money basically to fund armies to go off, in our case, and fight with the French for 100 years. It's human nature doesn't change. It's nothing new. It's different form today, but the dynamic's exactly the same. Someone feels entitled to rob you because of some spurious, foul contract that says that you've got to pay them more. And then it would have hurt even more. It would have been, I would think the impact of it would have been much more readily and easily seen because of the complete lack of credit cards, the liquid financial space that we now live in, which is basically almost an artificial money system. It's all bogus. Nothing really means much, basically. It's all sort of micro-controlled in terms of prices and markets. But back then, people would feel it. They literally wouldn't have enough money. They'd be thrown out and all this kind of stuff. It's a terrible state of affairs. Anyway.
Yeah. Vix Pervenit was 1745, and this is what it said about usury. The nature of the sin called usury has its proper place and origin in a loan contract. This financial contract between consenting parties demands by its very nature that one return to another only as much as has been received. The sin rests on the fact that sometimes the creditor desires more than he has given. Therefore he contends some gain is owed him beyond that which he loaned. But any gain which exceeds the amount he gave is illicit and usurious. That's the definition.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, Belloc has got a slightly different definition of it, or at least a slightly side. So he says that usury is on any unproductive loan, which is quite interesting in a way. But I think,
if you're in a business partnership, it's a different situation.
Of
if you're
course.
given money to invest, then that's a different situation. But
basically, they all should be viewed as partnerships. I mean, but of course, what it ended up was that the money lender was just a counting house, and basically, where's the money? I don't care whether you've used it well or not, And this caused them, of course, to not be responsible for who they lend it to. They would just then enforce the repayment of it, and it became a sort of, a secondary pressure on people. Now it's just seamlessly institutionalized everywhere we go. Because it's on everything, everybody's paying usury indirectly, whether they like it or not, because all the prices that go into the interest payments are carried in the goods and services that you buy. That's how the company gets it back. So the whole thing is just a seething mass of interest on interest on interest. Hence,
right.
$37 trillion debt, supposedly, on a sheet of paper. But they're for control purposes. That's really what it's there for.
And it always grabs your asset. At the end, it grabs your assets. That's why the World Economic Forum is saying you will own nothing and be happy, because that's what usury is. They're just grabbing your assets. It just gobbles up everything. It's just like a monster.
The oldest example of usury and how evil and despicable it is what did Russia and Germany have against the Jews? Why did they hate them so much? For stealing people's houses. And how did they do that? Usurious loans that could not be repaid because they were that way by design.
Yeah.
It's all theft. And heresy. I like it being referred to as heresy. I think it's long overdue.
Well, it is. It's a heresy. I mean,
it's not Christian.
It's just against the law, basically. I mean, if allowed into any space, it's the virus that chews up all the substance of life. That's why the culture's decaying. Everything, every single thing that we talk about here, one of the prime drivers or inherent qualities within it is this. Everything. Oh, we got to make. This is why they're always talking about economic growth. Why don't we not talk about that? Get rid of interest on loans, right? Stop all that nonsense. Sort it out in a different way. We've got these computers, everybody. So the computers have been used to increase the efficiency of usury, whereas in fact they ought to be used to completely remove it totally.
Yes.
But they've gone so used, I guess, to their role of being master lender and you master borrower. And what does it say? It's somewhere in Deuteronomy. They will become the lender. You will become the borrower. They will become the head. You will become the tail. They'll be able to lend to you. You won't be able to lend to them. Hello. Welcome to living on England in 2025, and probably in large parts of living on America as well. That's what it's like.
Well, that's part of it too. Is that like they see other people as subhuman, that they can just use their slavery, put them into slavery whenever they want to, and use it for their own advantage.
Yeah,
but is there any truth in the? I heard this week that Putin has booted out the Rothschilds, and apparently it was on RT. I haven't checked it out myself. I don't know if there's any truth in it, whether it's an internet hearsay
Well, the Rothschilds are how Alaska was lost by the Russians to the Americans. They had a loan to for their war. Actually, it was for the when they got rid of serfdom. The noblemen and Russian landowners had to pay for the serfs that they emancipated. And in order to do that, they took out loans from the Rothschilds, and they couldn't pay it back. So as collateral, they put down Alaskan land as the collateral, and when they couldn't pay it back, they ended up having to sell it to the government of America in order to pay the Rothschilds back their loan.
What's the main city in Alaska?
Anchorage. There's Anchorage, Kodiak Island. That's
it might be Anchorage. Have they got a university at Anchorage? So I've got another narrative about that, which it's just coming up on my hard drive. Got it, I think. So I saw this about 6 or 9 months ago. It's to do with the Alaskan thing. So what did America pay for Alaska? It's not a lot,
I don't remember what it wasn't very much.
No.
Some million.
It's a couple of $1 million, right? And it was something like 1 cent.
It was like
10 acres.
2 cents. 2 cents an acre is what I heard.
Okay. So, we won't mind that, right? Of course, they probably weren't fully aware of what was going to lie beneath it. Or maybe they were, I suppose. Maybe they'd had some clue. But that's not what it's about. The story I heard from a university professor up in, I think, Anchorage, okay, who'd found this in the documents, the local records, was that Russian fur traders had been coming to Alaska to capture whatever animals they've got fur up there.
Seals,
Sorry to be
typically.
Okay. And they'd wiped most of them
bear.
out. It became less and less lucrative as they basically depleted this stock of animals and there was less fur. So they weren't too bothered about it anymore. And it taps into the US war between the states because the Russians sent the Navy into New York, did they not, to support Lincoln. And there was a debt that was owed to Russia for that. But they didn't want it to be made public that had happened. It had to be disguised. So the whole sale of Alaska was basically a way for the US to pay the Russians back for the Russian Navy coming in and siding with Lincoln under the guise of buying Alaska, because they didn't want it anyway, because they'd got rid of all the animals that they took, that they didn't value it. They weren't going to come back anymore. So they said, look, we'll put this out as a story. That's what we do. And then we get our $2 million back that you owe us for the Navy coming up 50 years ago, whenever it was. When was it sold? 1902 or something, wasn't it? So it's only about...
What's that?
Alaska. When was the auction? Late 1800s, early 1900s?
The Civil War was in the 1860s was the Civil War.
That's right, but Alaska, the auction, that was about 30 years after that, but that would make sense. That's okay. They can let these things run. So it's if you look, I can't remember where it is. It was a YouTube interview, but I think there's also some documents about it. I thought it was fascinating. And he seemed to have sort of documentary proof that this is basically what had taken place, that it was a disguised sale. They couldn't care less about Alaska. They had no intention of coming back. So they said, well, you can buy it off us because we want our $2 or $3 million back, or whatever the US government ended up paying for it at the time. So anyway, it quite appealed to my sense of intrigue, I have to tell you, and it looked pretty good. Yeah.
Well, tomorrow there's supposed to be a big meeting between Putin and Trump, which hopefully goes well. As much as you can say these type of things can go well, I hope it ends. I'm tired of it. The war between Ukraine and Russia, it's a bloodbath. What good is going on there whatsoever?
It's all part of the world geopolitical stage play, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, and Alaska is a fitting place, though, because of the Russian territory that it used to occupy.
Mm-hmm.
Trump's family, I think it was his grandfather came into America from Germany. His actual name is Trumpeldorf or something like that.
Right.
It's not Trump. It was abbreviated. But then what he did is I think he went up to Alaska and bought up a lot of saloons and that sort of thing, property, gold mines and things. And that's how his family actually gained wealth, was up in Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
So no doubt they may even meet on one of his properties if that's the case. But I hope it goes well, because they got to end that. You can't be having that kind of war going on. I mean, it's only a matter of time before they bring it over here. These things with drones, those things are cheap, and you get people doing that sort of thing, promoting it over there. They'll do the same thing over here. They'll have no problem doing it.
No, it's all hell. It's all hell.
So
it's
it
the
needs to
manifestation
end.
of a disease that's a lot deeper, isn't it? I just think, it's been like this for thousands of years.
Well, this thing where they just revert to sanctioning, like the sanctions office, it just becomes a joke. I mean, now it's tariffs, and it's just like, well, we're going to sanction everybody we don't like, and then it leads to a war, and then you wonder why it led to a war, because you get these people who can't talk to each other. They shut down the embassies, and then they say, well, they're just the enemy, and we can't have them over here talking to us because we might come to peace terms. It's like, well, that's what we want. We don't want.
It's what we want, but it's not really what the banks want, is it? It's not what the money power wants. I mean, that's all. I know it's simplistic, but I just tend to think it will answer 99 out of 100 questions. If the money power want war, it happens. If they don't, it won't. That's it. Because all of these parts and components are manufactured from certain companies all around the world, all send them everywhere. They don't care as long as they, their stocks are okay and all this kind of stuff. And it's all interrelated. All of the interests of other people are interrelated with everybody else. You go, fancy a war? Look, we could sort this out. And this, it's literally like that. They're not going to fight in it. Their sons and daughters aren't going to be in it. And of course, the peasants are always there to be chewed up. It's not.
Yeah, people are just too fat and happy.
I guess.
I mean, they're not that happy necessarily, but just too
fat,
lulled
just
into
fat, at least fat.
When the shelves are empty, supermarket shelves are empty, then they'll do something, but they won't be, because what happened in the lockdown, you could get high carbohydrate junk food with ease. The quality stuff you couldn't get so easy, and that's what's going to happen today again. Loads of carbohydrates, chemical food. That'll be plentiful, but real food won't be. And I think that's what the future holds. And I hope I'm 100% wrong. But
you got to support those local farmers, those small farmers that.
That's definitely part of the solution process. I agree with you, Patrick. I think it's all part of that. And Paul mentioned earlier that all politics is local, and we've got to turn that from a phrase into an actuality. It needs to become that. I realise, though, that the training that you're receiving all the time is undetected by you. You can't help it. It's not possible to deal with all of these things. So since 1945 over here, the rise of convenience living, particularly over the last 30 or 40 years, has changed the way that we live. And even the I know I'm not laying the blame entirely at smartphones, but it really has changed everything. Lots of moments.
Scrolling.
Yeah, tons of stuff is just gone missing out of life. Moments of connection that used to exist. I go out walking quite a bit, and the last 2 times I've not taken my phone and realised that I felt anxious, that I was cross with myself. I want to listen to this, and thought, give it a break. Give it a break. Just go and sit still and look at the sun for 25, and it's really refreshing. But you get so out of the habit of it, and of course there's no dopamine hit. Oh, no. Of course, you don't think of it in those terms, but our minds are running quicker, I think generally quicker than they have ever had, but basically on a fuel of, sensationalist crap that keeps pouring through on the interwebs, as it were. A lot of it is not particularly constructive. And I'm trying to break myself with all sorts of habits and go, I need to get into a more physical way of living again, and out of this electronic space to the degree that I've been in it. My excuse back to myself, and it's a good one, I think, obviously I would think it's a good one because it's the one I came up to make me feel okay about it, is I'm interested in ploughing into all this stuff, which I think is really what the internet is amazing for, and not for all the, the automation of our lives, which I'm disinterested in completely. And what Alice, what you were saying, Eric, about getting the communications side going, I'm thinking, holy moly, there's so much to do. There really is. But until it starts, a little bit of it starts to get done, it's difficult for people to see what it is. I do think it's a case of that.
I agree.
But we've touched on loads of things tonight. Local farmers, we need to deal with that. This means, of course, if we get into the county thing, we can have county money. Why can't you? Why couldn't you have county money? I mean, you can't do that because the world economy. We're not interested in the world economy. We don't need it. Oh no, we're reliant on all these things. Well, we won't be very soon. It's this. So, we're thinking about all the wrong things. We're thinking about how to resist them. It's a bit of a grand statement to say we're thinking about the wrong things. You have to think about the emergencies that are coming down the road, of course. But such little time is devoted to actually constructing the world that we want to live in. And we only have to look in the recent past to see something that was much, much closer to it. I'm not saying perfect, but way, way better in terms of the structure of daily living. It was much, much better than this. I just saw today, I don't know if you saw it, Eric, over here. So it's A-level result time that's come through. All the students get their A-levels. And apparently more have passed this year. It's the best year ever.
Well, slap my thigh.
I know, it's just amazing and all that kind of stuff. Now, let's assume that it's true, and I don't know what A-level papers are like these days, but it'd be very interesting to compare them with those exam papers from 1882 that we were reading out several months ago, which were just astonishing, right? Okay, and I include myself, and I found A-levels tough. I got 2 or 3, I think, something like that. I don't know, I don't even have the sheets of paper.
Well, you get a calculator. you know, you got AI and stuff to help you.
Yeah.
Maybe that does improve it.
Yeah.
You just
I guess it does.
Have all these tools at your fingertips.
I guess it does. But the thought that struck me as I saw this little clip was, what do they think these A-levels are going to enable them to do? To be smart in a world that's being designed to run in a toilet. It's
right.
I'm
what
now
good does
qualified
it do if
to
they're
perform in
immoral
the
people?
economy. What are you talking about? It doesn't exist the way it did even 15, 20 years ago. It's going so rapidly. There's somebody saying about AI, something like 40% of all websites now are built by AI. By 2026, it'll be 60%. By the end of this decade, it'll be nearly... Everything's got this artificial feel to it. And I'm thinking it's time to get out of the social networking stuff, even though we're using it here to try and draw an audience in, because I can't think of anything else better at the moment. And probably get back to things like private podcasts on private servers with private email discussion lists. Email's brilliant on discussion lists. It's really good on a sort of county or parish basis, and you link them together. I know it sounds so quaint. You're so backward. People are not going to do that. I accept that they won't. They've got used to the convenience of instant connection. But it's like people have got gazillions of likes. You go, what does that mean? It's just a meaningless load of twaddle. But the dopamine hit that comes from it, this is why they go crazy. Oh, look, I've got 10,000 people that like me. What does that mean? It just means they clicked something. I'm not trying to put anybody off, by the way. I want you to all like these videos on YouTube and Rumble. So don't forget to click the like
by
button.
the way, share and like this video, everybody.
Yeah,
that's
by the
listening
way,
on, YouTube and
on
Rumble.
the same hand, yeah, promote it like mad because, you know, I can't live without the attention, all that kind of stuff. So, anyway, yeah, all that kind of gear. Interesting
Well, we need
times.
good music. You were talking about Ozzy Osbourne and the depressing stuff. We need the happy stuff. You know, Happy Days Are Here Again. That kind of the dance music that actually makes you want to dance rather than shuffle your feet and look down in depression. That, you know, we want the good stuff.
Yep.
You know, where we can prance around the dance floor.
Yep. Yep, I think we do.
Because, like you said, it's
but Eric
become
will be
AI.
there. Eric, you're not doing. Eric, you going to do any prancing? What's going on?
I might be prancing around. You never know. Yes, twinkle toes. You know, on the old dance floor. But as I say, it won't look natural. It's not a pretty sight, I can assure you. In fact, as that girl said, it might be looking like I'm doing an impersonation of a Panzer tank with a dodgy gearbox. Just walking into people and walking backwards, then walking forwards again. You know. But no, it's just some people are cut out for dancing. I don't think I am, actually.
We're towards the end of the show, gentlemen, which has been a good 100th show. Quite crazy, actually. I didn't know all that. We had a lovely start. That was technically an awful lot of fun. I'd just forgotten what all technical mayhem was like, but there we go. Anyway, we'll be back same time next week. Got a guest next week. I think I mentioned it earlier in the show. Thomas Anderson, who was on several months ago, talking about the bell and things like that. He'll be back. I don't know what we're going to talk about. I'm hoping maybe we'll really tunnel into AI. I think it might be worth having a good look at all that kind of stuff and the implications of it, how we avoid it, how we start supporting farms, getting our eggs fresh and all this kind of stuff. So it's almost like being a neo-Luddite. I think that's really what I think of myself as. Just a more tactile and involved life where you do get mud under your fingernails, you get a little bit dirty, you have to have a bath and all that kind of stuff, you know, so all that kind of stuff. Anyway, there we go. Yeah, there we go.
Fantastic.
So thanks everyone in Rumble and YouTube this evening. Hope you've enjoyed yourselves. It's very warm where I am. I'm actually cooking here. It's a really warm evening.
Same here.
Yeah, I'm going to the Eastbourne air display on Saturday. I haven't been to an air display in about 25 years. So my son said red arrows are going to be there. It's going to be apparently a beautiful day. A clear sky forecast, so no low cloud cover, otherwise it'll be garbage. Jets, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to go and have a
Go on a plane ride, Paul.
I'll
Spitfire?
try.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah,
do it.
Yeah, there's going to be a Spitfire. There'll be a Spitfire. That's all that was bothered. That's all we're bothered about. We'll see you all next week, everyone. Bye for now. Thanks very much. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Patrick. Thank you, Eric. And thank you, good chaps and chapesses in Rumble and YouTube chat. We'll see you all next week. Have a cracking week.